or what?
Hard as you want.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Logan Municipal Council. Our opening ceremony this evening is from Josh Thompson, who represents CAPSA. If you would step to the microphone, and when you're finished, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor Daines, members of the City Council, and members of the community. My name is Josh Thompson, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief Development and Communications Officer at CAPSA, Citizens Against Physical and Sexual Abuse. First, I want to thank you for giving CAPSA time on your agenda tonight. More importantly, thank you for the time and energy you dedicate to serving Logan's residents. I know these roles often require long hours, difficult decisions, and deep compassion for the people you represent. I also want to recognize those council members and you, Mayor, who are not seeking re-election. Thank you for your service and helping shape the city we all call home. And to those running again, I wish you well. Public service requires courage and commitment, and your willingness to continue leading means a great deal. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Like many awareness months, this month is about helping our community better understand an issue that too often stays hidden. A 2023 Utah State University study found that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 7 men in Utah will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. That means 2 things. Statistically, most of us will not personally experience domestic violence, and that's good news. But it also statistically means that every one of us knows someone who has. It's likely happening to our neighbors, our friends, and even our family members. Additionally, according to the Utah Violent Death Reporting System, nearly half of all homicides in our state are related to domestic violence. These are not distant numbers. This is something that happens here in our community. During the last fiscal year, CAPSA served over 2,500 individuals. More than 1,900 of those were from Logan City. That is a significant share compared to the rest of the county. Now, that does not necessarily mean that there's more domestic violence in Logan. There's a positive thing that it can mean, and it's really something important. It means that people here in your city know where to go for help. It means that Logan residents are aware that there's hope, that there are resources, and that they do not have to face abuse alone. That awareness is one of the greatest indicators of a healthy, compassionate community. A big part of that awareness and response is the partnership between CAPSA and the Logan City Police Department. For more than 30 years, a member of the Logan City Police Department has served on CAPSA's board of directors, with Assistant Chief Hooley currently serving in that role. When one of our clients chooses to make a report, we help them call dispatch, and a Logan City officer comes to CAPSA to take that report. The professionalism and care that your officers show survivors in those moments are exceptional. Logan City Police and CAPSA were also among the first in the state to pilot the lethality assessment protocol. This program helps identify individuals who are at risk of lethal violence and connects them immediately with services. It is not an exaggeration to say that this process has saved lives in our community. All of the work we do has elements of prevention. We provide education in schools and workplaces to prevent violence before it happens. We provide safety and support when it does happen. And we offer long-term healing through therapy, housing, and advocacy so that the cycle of violence does not continue. Our programs reached over 17,000 people last year in our prevention and education efforts. There's a deeply human side to this work. Nobody wants people in their community to feel unsafe or to suffer in silence. But there's also an economic side. A national study estimated that the lifetime cost of domestic violence for women averages $103,000. That includes healthcare, mental health services, criminal justice costs, and lost productivity. By comparison, CAPSA's average cost of services per client is around $2,500 a year. An average client lifetime of 2 years, it means an investment of about $5,000. That investment changes lives and creates long-term savings for the entire community. The return on that investment is safety, stability, and hope. In preparing for this meeting, I reviewed Logan City's organizational chart and noticed that at the very top are the citizens. That resonated with me because that is where CAPS begins to. We are citizens against physical and sexual abuse. We are both here to serve the same people and build the same kind of community, one where everyone can heal, hope, and thrive. Logan City has long been a leader in Cache County. Other communities look to you for direction and for example. Tonight, I want to thank you for that leadership and invite you to continue it, to lead out in the effort to end domestic violence and to lead in building a culture of hope. If you've taken the time to come and visit CAPSA and learn more about our work, thank you for that time. If you've not yet, I welcome you. Please reach out. We'd love to have you come and learn and see. The more our leaders and the community understands and talks about these issues, the more visible the solutions become. Awareness truly is prevention. We all want the same thing, a community where people can live free from fear, where they can experience safety, joy, and belonging. CAPSA believes that abuse ends here and that hope begins here. And because of your continued partnership and leadership, that belief is not just a slogan. It is becoming a reality, one family and one survivor at a time. Thank you again for your service, your partnership, and your commitment to the people of Logan.
Thank you.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Josh, thank you. I have been on the CAPSA board, and I know that their work is truly important and critical in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay if you'd like, or you're welcome to go. Now on our agenda, we are to the acceptance of the minutes and the approval of our agenda for this evening.
I would move acceptance of the minutes and approval of tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Anybody have any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our 2025 regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Our next meeting is Election Day, November 4th.
Make sure you get your ballot in before 8 p.m. on that date, even though they're mail. The new legislation requires them to be in hand by 8 o'clock, not just postmarked like they were in the past. So when you're voting, if you don't drop it in the mail, drop it in the drop box. That's located, the closest one here is outside of the county building.
Yep, right close to where you park to rent.
Just to the west.
Yeah, just to the
Just
west of
to
where
the
you go
west.
to register your car.
I dropped mine off today.
I'll be happy to tell you that I was the first person in Cache County to vote.
Hey, what up?
for you.
Why don't you?
You're the lucky first, huh?
I only know that because when I went to put it in the drop box was locked. And so I had to go inside, and she said, well, try this one. And she goes, you're the first. So I said, okay. So anyway, everybody needs to go vote.
Congratulations on being the first.
Thanks. I feel so special.
I love it.
So now we are to the point of our agenda where we take questions and comments for either the mayor or the council or both of us. Any person who wishes to make a comment or has a concern regarding something having to do with the city, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
Hi, my name is Mike Blah. I'm from Logan. First, I just want to verify this is an acceptable time to comment on the critical lands,
No, well, you have to do that during the public hearing,
which will be later.
later on.
But there's no public,
Oh, there's no
I say
public hearing.
It was.
but it is on the agenda.
But it is
so-
on the agenda, so we ask that you just send us comments, and people did that. So, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
Hi, my name is Matthew Patuasi. I'm from Logan. As you know, I'm not a fan of the topic of not being able to talk about things on the agenda, so I'll instead be talking about the agenda as a whole. It's very interesting when we run into things that recur frequently that are basically people admitting to the characteristics when we are just like giving them the benefit of the doubt, and they come back with that characteristic and we're just like, okay, so you are living up to the characteristics that we expected from you. In case of that, you see like the real estate developers already pulling back on the number of living quarters inside of that after we had already given them lease and leeway for that, and the building is going to be not a hotel anymore, which is easily convertible into living residences. But in the same vein too, we have the UAM's power agreement for solar. As opposed to just going directly to the solar, they want to make sure that they have that inside of them doing a good job instead of us going directly to the solar entity and going through them for that contract, because UAM's has not been cooperating with us as far as going into green energy. This is just, you can say that this is cooperation, but that was not what the 30-year agreement was. And in addition to that, we have situations like the riparian zone being changed over as well, just like contractors just want to continuously find ways of extracting money, like Mark right here wants to make sure that it's not local plants or anything, it's just open plants in general, so the local area to get them would be from him. Also, as far as those instances too, we end up having, what is it? So I'm just not a fan of Mark saying that he's a fan of all of these things when we know his characteristics.
Excuse me, Matthew.
CAPSA is a state's issue instead of actually something that we should be handling on the local level. Anyways, that's all my considerations as far as characteristics and how they, tend to slide underhand and everything like that without, due diligence. So I'm hoping that you guys will hold the Woodsonia to account for already trying to socialize the losses that they're suffering from our national government that we don't seem to be able to critique. So when we say things like we have to have our ballots inside Cash's hands for counting as opposed to being postmarked, we can't say that's a bad thing that took place, and we are working at the state level to make sure that we can actually get that fixed. Instead, we're just being like, what can you do? That's the characteristics that you guys show, so thank you for your time. Have a good one out there. Take care. Bye. Whatever. Bye. I'll get it off.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back and we will move on to the mayor and staff reports. Mayor?
Good evening. I'm delighted to introduce Superintendent Frank Schofield, whom you all know, but we appreciate his coming and giving us kind of an annual report on the state of the school district. We have such a great working relationship with the district. We've appreciated working with him, and we'll turn the time over to him for his report.
Thank you. It is, as always, it's a pleasure to be here. And I love that slide because that is the view out of my office window.
Sorry.
If that were my office window,
You live in Machu Picchu.
we'd have a very different conversation. Let me get this started here. All right, but I do appreciate, to echo Mayor Dane's comments, the partnership that we have between the school district and the city. There are a number of projects, there will actually be some of them highlighted in this presentation this evening, that do benefit our students and by extension our community as a whole. Just to give you some updates, I shared this chart with you last time. This is our breakdown of our enrollment at all of our schools. You see they go alphabetically down from the top, and then Mount Logan and Logan High School at the bottom. So we currently, as of yesterday, have enrollment of about 5,300 students. Our enrollment has been in a steady downward trajectory over about the last 12 years. Just a few students here and there, generally due to, as families age out, children move, people move out of homes or change their living situations, etc. We have seen a boost this year in our secondary enrollment, which is an interesting dynamic. But we are seeing that we're getting a little more student retention. They are staying around longer. Which is an exciting thing because we see that the services and the supports that we're able to give them over time have cumulative effects, which has been a great thing to see. And we do, of course, our larger grades generally are our lower grades, kindergarten and first grade. But we are seeing, right now it's second, so we're holding on to those kids, which is a fun thing to see. The way that enrollment breaks down, we have about 49% female, 51% male, so we're really even there. 50% of our students come from backgrounds of low income, and 54% of our students come from ethnic minority backgrounds. 22% of our students are classified as English learners. Now, they are not all receiving English learning services. Some of them have graduated from that need, but they still classify as students whose primary language is a language other than English. So 22% of them, and then you see the list of languages right there that our students speak. We are thrilled to have students from so many different parts of the world come into our schools. And when you walk into an elementary school or you walk through the high school or the middle school and you see students engaging with peers who obviously look different from them, but in many cases speak different languages, have very different cultural backgrounds, and they come together and form a community. I'll share one story we just learned this morning. We have 2 students in our district who are both deaf, who sign. One of them is originally from Pakistan, learned ASL in Pakistan, but actually learned for lack of a better term, a somewhat antiquated version of ASL, but speaks it and does it quite well. They both ended up, they happened to be in the same grade. They were in 2 separate schools. Our special ed director was visiting with one of the parents, and they said, well, we've actually moved, so we need to get set up, registered at a new school. So she said, well, how about, since you're still going to be in our district, how about we help you get transported to this school? We'll help reimburse you for transportation costs. So now these 2 students are in the same class with one another, and they are thriving. They both have interpreters supported by the Utah School for the Deaf and Blind, but they also have a peer now who they can communicate with in ASL, and their success in class, their attitudes about school, both are just exploding in a positive direction. It's been fun to watch that happen. 14% of our students have an IEP, an individualized education plan, based on their disabilities and the services we provide them, and about 397 of our students come from outside of our district. And oftentimes they come for childcare reasons or proximity to the parents' work, but also we have them come for some of our programs. Because of some of the successes that we're seeing. Our high school graduation rate last year was about 92%. That's significantly above the state average, but also as you consider some of the additional work that many of our students are having to do to be successful in school, that's a tremendous accomplishment and is a reflection of the positive work they and their families are doing with the support of our teachers. We had our Sterling Scholar finalists last year. We have 2 additional National Merit Scholar finalists this year, Finn Mason and Heber Chapman. Our K-2 early literacy scores still are the highest in the state, and our kindergarten through 2nd grade, and that's something we're extremely proud of the work our elementary teachers are doing to help students start on that positive path and get those initial steps in their academic success moving forward. And this has been our first year in quite a while at 3A athletics, and it's been a good thing for our students. Everybody's had some good records. Cross country is doing well. Girls soccer made it into the quarterfinals. Football is having a good region record, which is just providing more positive opportunities for kids to engage and be part of something. One of the things, and I have a slide later about this, is we know that students, young people today, and older people, need to feel connected to something. When we don't feel connected emotionally to a person, to a thing, to a group, we're much more likely to engage in at-risk behaviors. We're much more likely to self-harm, and we don't thrive. So one of the things we're really focusing on is how do we help more students find those opportunities to connect, find those opportunities to engage and feel part of something while they're at school. And we have 11 fall academic all-states. Last year, Logan High School had, I believe, the 2nd highest number of academic all-states out of any school in 3A. So there are some great things going on. We have a fantastic group of students, supportive parents, and coaches that recognize that success on the tennis court or on the field or on the track needs to be matched by success in the classroom and what we're doing there. Some things that most people don't know about the school district is we do have student wellness rooms in all of our schools. The reason those exist is to help students who, and we saw this exacerbated during the pandemic, lack the awareness of and the skills to emotionally self-regulate. So when we have a child who's emotionally dysregulated, they don't know how to recognize when they're starting to get upset, and they don't recognize how to manage that, they lash out. They tantrum, they have a meltdown, throw stuff, yell, etc. So if we want, and once they've done that, now they typically start engaging in behavior that requires a disciplinary response. And once you're engaging in a disciplinary response, now you're removing them from class, there are penalties, they're more embarrassed, and the problems just kind of start to snowball. The wellness rooms exist as a place to help those children learn emotional self-regulation. So if they are struggling with managing that, they learn to recognize their own physical cues. Most of us can tell when we're getting agitated. There are physical symptoms in our bodies, and when we recognize that, we can then take steps to manage it and control it. We teach those to students, so you may have a child who needs to go somewhere to help get some help in managing their emotions, but we do that before they engage in a behavior that results in them having a disciplinary consequence. So we have that in all of our schools with that purpose. You're familiar with our Family Resource Center, the house over by Wilson Elementary, where we provide services both for our homeless and our migrant populations. You see our laundry facilities there. Those facilities are booked solid pretty much every day. We have families who come and they get blocked out for multiple hours. So that only means maybe 2 or 3 families a day because our staff make sure they have plenty of time to wash, dry, fold, and not, while having some privacy and some as a family. But there are tremendous resources that are provided there, and our staff are absolutely fantastic. We have a child care partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Northern Utah. We use the old seminary building at Mount Logan Middle School as a child care facility now that's managed by the Boys and Girls Club. They do infant, toddler, and preschool child care, although they found there's not nearly as much need for the preschool as there is for infant. So they're transitioning some of the preschool services to infant child care. And that has been fantastic. Through that partnership, they're also providing after-school activities at Mount Logan Middle School, and they're helping us manage a teen center in the front offices of the rec center. So we're able to provide more support services for those students who need a positive, safe place to go, to do homework, and again, to be connected with someone and something.
How much staff have you got invested in that? I'm just curious.
We only have 3 invested in that because the after-school clubs at the middle school and high school are being managed by Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Yeah, so our staff are just the ones at the Family Resource
I think there's so many people that don't realize how difficult and expensive childcare is. So I think it's outstanding what you're doing. So
Yeah, they have been. I mean, Janelle Jeffries. If you've met Janelle, you know Janelle. So she is absolutely phenomenal. And the work that they've been able to support us with in expanding those services has been fantastic. And we do shout this out a little bit, but our starting salaries are among the top 5 in the state of Utah. That is due to a great degree the partnerships that we've had with Logan City, with the RDAs and community development that's happened, and the additional revenue that's provided for the school district. Without those projects, we would not be able to do that. So the fact that we're able to recruit and retain high-quality teachers, the only reason we have teachers leaving our district right now are they retire and they want to move on to other things, or they have a change in their family situation. A spouse gets a different job, they have a child and they want to stay home. But otherwise, because of the compensation structures we've been able to put together with the city's help, we've been able to really retain some outstanding educators, which helps everybody in our district. Facilities, these are 2 projects. One of them, that is on the left, the inside of the old municipal, that is now our indoor, our Grizzlies Field House. You see it's about a 45-yard long field on the lower level. That's the width of the hash marks of the football field, so that's used by soccer and track and lacrosse. And baseball does a bunch of drills over there. And then on the mezzanine, we have a batting cage up there. And they have a portable mound and pitching machines and all those things. The purpose of this was to create a place where our students could go during those spring sports at the beginning of the season. You get a lot of disruptions due to the weather. So we wanted a place where they could go and start practicing and doing drills. So it is booked pretty consistently by Logan High teams, and it's available for use in the evenings and on Saturdays with the community, but that's all scheduled through the high school. And then the picture on the right is we broke ground just a couple weeks ago on our expansion of our early childhood center over by the fairgrounds. So this is going to be another classroom wing. This is going to allow us to bring our special ed preschool that's currently over at Riverside and combine it with our Title I preschool. That does a couple of things. One, it helps us make better use of the facilities in an updated facility where the Riverside School has been there for a while. But the second thing it does is one of the requirements that we have with students with disabilities that they need to spend a certain amount of time really with non-disabled peers. So we don't have this segregation of students with and without disabilities. Having them in the same facility makes that easier to do and provides better experiences for our students, even as preschoolers. So that was our groundbreaking day. Don Bell, our maintenance manager, made sure we had hard hats and vests and shovels for the students. So they helped us break ground, and that project is now underway. It should take us about 1.5 years to get that done.
I like the grizzly on the machine there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they call them the little grizzlies. One of the things I wanted to celebrate with you all as a council is the strong sense of community that we're fortunate to have both here at the district and as part of being in Logan City. A couple things that were done this year. The photos on the left and right are from a new event that we're doing as part of homecoming, where it's called basically the Grizzly Pride Handoff. They put the seniors on one side of the football field and all of our kindergartners on the other side. And they come together and meet, and the high schoolers give the kindergartners a bracelet. It's just a fun celebration, getting kids thinking about where they want to be and that connection, that you're part of something. School isn't just a place where you go. It's a community that you're part of. And that's something that our staff are really trying to promote.
If I can give a shout out to that, I have a kindergartner who went to that this year. And
Oh, fantastic.
thought it was fantastic, and his bracelet is on he has a shelf of special things, and it's already sitting up there. He thought it was a great event, so I think it was a very cool new tradition to start.
Yeah, we're excited to keep seeing these things grow and keep building
cool.
that sense of connection. Of course, anytime Griswold can sit down with a little kid, it's a positive. I'm going to try not
I was
to
terrified of him.
get too emotional about the one in the middle. But we recently, of course, you're all aware, had 2 funerals up at the spectrum of law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty. The funeral procession for one of those officers passed Adams Elementary and Mount Logan Middle School. The entire middle school student body went out and lined the street for about half an hour in complete silence. And you don't usually get a group of 12 to 13-year-olds quiet for that long. They stood quietly, they waved. They showed what young people today think about, the values that they have, and their willingness to be part of something more. And that's what these students learned that day. I am so grateful for the staff and the administration at Mount Logan who made that choice to do that. And we don't have pictures of Adams, but they did that there as well. And what the students felt, what they learned, and what they were able to communicate, especially to the families of those officers who drove by, because they stayed there for the entire procession. And we got some feedback afterwards from family members and people who were in the procession, how, it was a hard day, but when they turned the corner and they turned down that road and saw all of these middle schoolers standing there, how that changed the feeling of the day for them. I mean, the sorrow wasn't gone, obviously, but it changed the tenor of the day. And that sense of community, that sense of connection in who we are, is one of the things I love about working and living in Logan and being part of what we get to do as a school district. That sense of belonging, as I've said, is something we're explicitly focusing on with all of our students. This was a research brief that was just published this last summer. Dr. Marilee Coles-Ritchie actually worked here at Utah State previously. She's now down at Westminster College. But they interviewed students across the state and a number of students from Logan regarding what do teenagers mean when they talk about belonging.
So we've used that as some research to share with our staff and talk about, okay, how do we make sure that anybody who comes into our schools, any child feels that this is a place where they do belong. And we have work to do. I mean, teenagers are always prone to feel they don't belong somewhere. It's a challenging time. And there are some students who feel that more than others for a variety of reasons. So we're doing a number of things. We have our video production class that's been creating videos about belonging to share this during the school day. I have a quarterly lunch with groups of students who represent the different clubs that we have at the high school. I have my first one tomorrow, where we're talking to them about this subject and say, how do you feel you belong? What are things that help you feel you belong? What are you doing to help others feel they belong, and make sure that we keep building those connections? And part of those connections are the partnerships that we have with the city. We do this in a number of ways, but just another shout out to Logan PD. Our school resource officers are absolutely phenomenal. We are fortunate to have incredible people working in our schools, and they are loved by the staff, they're loved by the students. You've seen celebrations of a number of them. Officer Rowe there in the middle is able to talk with kids and build relationships and connections with them that they wouldn't otherwise be making with adults. Kendall is great for a middle school. He's tall enough that you can't miss him. Everybody has to look up to him, and he just smiles a lot. He's perfect for being around middle schoolers. And Officer Letty has been absolutely phenomenal for our elementary students. What she does with Lunch with a Cop, where kids get to go and hang out with her. The fact that she will go to Adams or Ellis or other schools, and she'll have little Latino girls come up to her, and the first thing they ask her is, do you speak English? Or do you speak Spanish? Do you speak Spanish? Sorry. And she'll say yes, and then they will just start rattling off in Spanish. And she builds those connections with them, and she helps these students see what's possible. She's a role model, she's a connection for them, and she helps them build positive relationships with the officers, which all three of those officers do a phenomenal job of helping students develop positive relationships with law enforcement and recognizing that they're helpers.
And Letty received a national award,
Yeah.
the top school resource officer for the entire country.
Yeah.
So
we
I
are.
think she was nominated by Adams School.
I believe so.
so.
Outstanding.
She's held in very high regard.
Well, she needs to come and we need to clap for her.
I think, didn't
We
we?
did.
We
We
did.
did.
We awarded, we recognized her.
A couple months back.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
I
you were
lost track,
wrong.
sorry.
So I appreciate, again, the thought and the energy, and I've met with Chief Simmons and Assistant Chief Hooley about this, the thought and the focus that goes into selecting the right people to be SROs. Because that's a position that I've worked in a couple different places, a couple different districts. It's not always that same kind of thought, but the energy that's gone into that makes it an incredibly positive experience for our students. That's our staff for this year. They are the ones that make the work happen everywhere. 288 licensed teachers, 497 education professionals, from custodians to lunch workers to instructional aides. We hired 35 new teachers this year, and we have 20 administrators in the district. So a fantastic group of professionals doing some outstanding work. Our mission, which you've heard before, is to ensure all students leave our schools ready to create a positive future for themselves and their community. This year in our initial meetings, I talked to our teachers about the Statue of Liberty. And if you've read the poem, The New Colossus, that's inscribed on the base, we've all heard that, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning, breathe free. We sometimes forget the last line of that poem, and it's a fantastic poem as a whole. I really encourage you to read the whole thing, but that promise there, I lift my lamp beside the golden door. We talked about how that's the reason we exist as a school district. Our purpose is to help young people find and then develop the attitudes and the behaviors and skills that are necessary to help them walk through their golden door. And we talked about, I share a couple of students. We have a gentleman who is our district mechanic right now. He was one of my students years ago. He was a brand new first generation immigrant from Michoacan, Mexico. And he was in some of my ESL classes. Didn't speak a lick of English. He worked hard, made it through high school, went to BTech, His wife also is a first-generation immigrant graduate from Logan High School. They got married. They're working hard. They have 2 sons who play sports, do orchestra, are at school every day. His parents, their parents, brought them here because they were looking for that golden door. And they were able to walk through it. And now they're finding that golden door for their children. We had another student when we traveled back to New York this summer. We went to a Broadway play. And during the intermission, I'm looking through the program, and I see a name that I recognize. I'm like, wait a minute. She was in my Spanish classes at Logan High like years ago. I look it up, do some internet, do some Instagram stalking, and yeah, it's her. She, with the support of parents, her name is Bronwyn Tarbotton, she's performing on Broadway. She, with the support of mom and dad and teachers and friends, and a lot of hard work, she found her golden door and was able to walk through it. That's what we do every day. We try to find ways to help more children find and then walk through their golden door. And I am thrilled to be able to be part of that work and to see so many children do that. I call them children when they're 18. I'm getting to the point I call them children when they're 30. They're still just kids.
Those kids.
But thank you for the partnership that we have with you. Thank you for the support that you so consistently provide to the school district, the encouragement, and the opportunity that we have, the open door that we have to come and talk with you, that you have to come and share ideas with us, and the way that improves us as a district. So thank you so much. Sorry, I know that probably went a little long, but I did want to make sure that you knew about some of those things.
Well, and just one other partnership, and maybe Ernesto or Amy wants to mention it. We've created a youth city council at kind of Ernesto's instigation that started last year. And I think we have a couple of those youth council members in the audience tonight.
I
But
can see at least one of them here. And last year was the first year that we brought it back. And this year we went from last year being 6 or 7 students to 17 students this year. So it's exciting to see that grow.
That is wonderful.
I will say they did not know how to moderate their candy distribution at
the homecoming parade.
And despite Teresa's best efforts, we ran up like 2 blocks before the parade ended. So next year, whoever buys the candy, I'm assuming we'll have more students showing up too.
We
It
keep
was
buying
great to
more and
have
more
them.
candy, and it keeps going
It
less and less far.
It
I'll tell
wasn't
you.
totally their fault, if I'm being honest.
Our school board cannot moderate their candy distribution. So we just keep buying more.
anyway, thank you very much. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to also interact with those Logan High students that are on youth council. They learn about local government. They get to go down to the state capitol and meet legislators in January and do some interesting things. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent, we appreciate that. And with that, that is the end of my report for today.
Well, we'll move now to council business. Planning Commission did not meet, so that's a quick report. They will, however, meet on Thursday, so I'll have a report next month, or probably next meeting. Board and committee reports. Mark, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, I can go first. Golf Advisory Board met. They're working on some new additions at the driving range, which are actually quite exciting. And they've got a great start to their financial year. So they had a really great meeting, and there was a lot of excitement about that. I spent a couple days at the Utah League of Cities and Towns earlier this month, and learned lots of really great things. I got to see the governor's plan for housing, for affordable housing, and they've got some really cool things that they're working on. So there's some great ideas. And what they did was they brought together people from the realtor side, people from the development side, people from the financial side, people from local government and state government, and they got them all together and they brought forward about 150 ideas, and everyone got to vote on it. And if they liked it, they gave it a thumbs up. If they were okay with it, it was a thumb sideways, and if they didn't like it, it was a thumbs down. And everyone got to speak and talk and share ideas, and if nobody could agree that it was either a thumbs side or a thumbs up, there was one person that was down, that idea got kicked out. And they came up with 46 ideas that everyone could agree on. 46. So in the next month or so, we'll probably be seeing that coming from the governor's office. So when you get those different groups together and everyone can agree on all those things, I think we're going to see some changes at the state level. And a lot of them were directed towards state legislation, some were directed towards local government, some were directed towards financial institutions, some were directed towards developers. So everybody has a role to play in trying to fix our affordable housing issue. So I think it's very exciting what they're trying to do. I also attended the Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting, and we talked about the landfill and its potential closure and that upcoming timetable and how that would work. We talked a little bit about the green waste facility and our current landfill out in Newton as well too. So there was some good things discussed in there as well too. And then I've been able to attend the last 2 meetings of the Cash Council of Governments, or otherwise known as the COGS, and get to hear the mayors talk about how to spend transportation money. And it was really interesting. It was a really interesting process, and they shared some very unique data that shows how well that government entity is working, because that money is getting shared between all the communities in Cache County fairly evenly, without anyone standing up and saying we're being, discriminated against, we're not getting any money. The data was quite telling that piece of government is working very, very well, and everyone is getting a piece of the pie. And there's some really great projects that they've been working on, and the goal of that group is to connect communities together, and they're doing a great job at doing it. So I salute all the governors in our county. Our mayors, our mayors, not our governors, but I salute all of our governors in the county, because they are working really hard to make sure that we connect our cities together. And they're doing a great job. And Logan was funded with $5.8 million for the 4th North 600 West connection there. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
That will be a great project. And again, communities are required to match those projects at a minimum of 8%, but Logan tends to match ours at a higher rate. We agreed to match at 25%. Again, it's a big amount, but we also match it at higher amounts. So it leverages those dollars in a really good way.
Yeah. It'll be a great project, not for next year, but the year after, correct? Yeah, 2027 is what I was thinking. So, yeah, so it's been an interesting month. We've done a lot of different meetings. So, thank you.
Okay, it's my turn. I'm going to be quite quick, actually. I attended Airport Authority Board meeting, which is a monthly meeting. We are dealing, interestingly enough, we have some people who want to build hangars out at the airport. Not just one, but a bunch. And so we're trying to figure out how that fits into the airport master plan, which has just recently been approved by the FAA, and I will have a copy sent to all of the council members so they have the opportunity to read that as well. I attended CMPO, which is the Cache Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is sort of the funding group for some of the money that comes in for the Council of Mayors to allocate among themselves for the road projects that Mark just talked about. I did not attend the audit committee meeting because I was traveling. And I also attended by phone the first meeting of the draft general plan.
Oh, that's right. You did.
So
yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
That was, I teased Mike and Russ and said it was the first meeting I'd ever attended that I didn't speak at all.
I don't recall you saying anything.
Well,
either,
because
no.
they muted me at the beginning and I couldn't remember how to unmute.
On purpose, yeah.
Should we pull the microphone?
So
On purpose. And that was a great meeting too. That was
it was a good meeting.
Yeah, a really good meeting.
We've got a lot of work to do still.
Lots
But
of
I
work
think
to do.
it was a really good meeting. In addition to that, I sit on the State Water Quality Board, was appointed by the governor, and we met to talk about allocating some significant money to different water quality projects. 3 of them are within Cache County, so it's nice to be a part of those discussions at a state level. And beyond that, I can't remember anything else I did, I'm afraid. I went to a lot of meetings. We do a lot of, all of us participate in a lot of meetings 2 at a time, because you can't have a majority, but we will participate 2 at a time in meetings to further discuss ordinances and things that are coming up on our plate so that we have a better understanding of all of the bits and pieces, and we can also voice our concerns about verbiage or whatever. So I did attend some of that. And anyway, I will go on now, and I'm going to turn the time over to Chief Nate Thompson, our fire chief.
Actually, I'll start off and then
Okay.
some time. So recently, the state of Utah passed a law that requires all municipalities to bid out their EMS services. So, and that requirement is irregardless of the city providing that service themselves, as Logan City does. So in accordance with that law, the finance department
And it's a new law, right?
It's a new law. It's a new requirement. There very likely will be change in the future. But
Can you just clarify
For obvious reasons,
for the audience what EMS actually covers?
so this is emergency medical services. Really, when you call 911 and an ambulance shows up, it's that service that is provided by the city currently. So in accordance with that new state law, we put out an RFP and we received 1 response. We actually received a couple other inquiries, but only 1 response from the City of Logan Fire Department. So in accordance with that law, we need to now have our fire department do a short presentation on the services they will provide,
And why they're good for, why they'd be good to provide those services?
why they'd be good to continue, and after which I will have a recommendation I will give to council and ask for a headline,
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
which will complete the state.
How was that RFP process, Chief? That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Well, my clinician made some money. How's that? It has been, well, and you know, truly, I love what Councilman Lopez asked me when I was able to review this. He's like, Chief, what do you hope to get out of this? Because up to the point, it's been very difficult to try to figure out how you present on a service that's been being provided to Logan City since 1880. So I took Councilman's advice and said, let's take an opportunity and self-reflect, make sure we've got a good solid system. And I think when I share this short presentation with you, hopefully everyone would agree, not just council and staff and the mayor, but our Logan citizens as well, because we truly have a phenomenal fire and EMS department. So per the law, per Senate Bill 215, I'm going to cover 3 areas: cost, quality, and access. Now, just for everyone, so everyone knows that's here, we're also required to share a lot of information. Our proposal was shared with every council member by email, and they were also introduced to the bill because it was a new law. And so a special thanks to finance, to legal, to the mayor, to the council for taking time to educate. So with the new law, we've got for cost, basically, our system is funded from the ambulance billing revenues and EMS themed grants. The EMS system is ran as an enterprise fund, so every dollar that is spent in this is raised by the revenues of transporting patients. Okay. Collections are managed by a third-party billing company. They do a phenomenal job for us. That's Gold Cross Ambulance Billing Company, not the ambulance company, but the billing affiliate of that. They charge us a fair fee for doing that work. It's a lot of work that we're glad is done by third party. And the thing to note, ambulance revenue funds nearly half of our fire department budget. Our budget runs, if you recall, about $12.6 million. This fund is about $5.9 million of that. And you know, the other thing about this is it doesn't just cover Logan City. Our geographical licensure is North Logan, Logan, River Heights, and Providence, as well as the Canyon. And I'll review that with you. So this was our proposal. So this is the cost portion. This is our current budget that we have proposed for this year, broken down, $5.9 million. The council has seen all of these numbers unless there's a specific question to any line item. I just want to review that it's as we proposed in July. This is a question often raised just for transparency. Like, people like to know why and how an ambulance does their billing. You can see these rates here. These are the current rates. All, as you can see, are set by Utah law. Virtually every, I don't know of any ambulance company in the state of Utah that doesn't follow the state law just for a standard in billing, and that's because they use data from federal data. They will use Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement rates as a consideration, and standards across the country. So those are the current rates. That is what every patient is billed per the service that's provided.
11 cents?
Yeah, that's another bill that got passed we're working on.
11 cents?
Yeah.
250.
Yeah,
I know,
so
but 11 cents.
unfortunately, either House Bill or Senate Bill 301 took away our ability to bill for supplies. We can only bill for medications, and unfortunately, they base that on what pharmacies can buy it for, and fire departments cannot buy medications at that rate. So that's another modification we're hoping for in the 2026 legislative session. But
You can't bill for supplies at all anymore.
No supplies any longer. Nope. So we went through all that work in June to pass our new rates.
Right.
And then they took that from us, unfortunately, by law, but we're hoping to get it back. Yeah.
And that's only EMS supplies, to be clear.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Medications still can be, but it's like I said, at a pharmacy rate, and we just can't buy medications at pharmacy rates. So we'll continue working on that piece of it, but it's tough to stay up with the laws, for sure. So in terms of, so that's our cost, that's what we bill, that's our budget. In terms of quality, this is the piece from our proposal, just as a little review for everyone here. Logan City Fire Department's been in operation since 1880, the first EMS service in the valley in 1927 with our first Studebaker ambulance. Operations are under advice from a phenomenal ER doc that works out of Cache Valley Hospital, Dr. Betts. And then our state, our critical care paramedics have oversight from our state medical director, Peter Talak, from the University of Utah. We offer an advanced life support system with paramedic and AMT services, as well as our critical care program. You'll see down at the bottom, which is very unique. We're one of 3 critical care paramedic programs in the state, and it has been very successful. We've had, I think, around a dozen field RSIs, which is your rapid sequence intubation, which is when we actually paralyze them for very serious patients. So it's been very successful for our citizens. We were hopeful it would be a great addition, and it's exceeded our expectations. So it's a great additional service for Logan City and our contracted cities. And of course, we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. We also, in addition to providing 911 service, have to be able to provide standby medical service. That was another piece of this that legal had to get involved to make sure we were understanding the law properly. Craig loved that part, but we got through it. And so we also handle any requests from private events within our service area for medical coverage, including the university. And additionally, we also run in our system about 1,200 interfacility transfers a year. We have a plan for that we use some additional help with our mutual aid partners to manage that flow to not affect our 911 capabilities beyond our abilities. So. Real quick, I also have to show you our apparatus and medical plan. So as part of our proposal, currently Logan City operates the 9 ambulances. Like I said, we have our critical care response vehicle that our critical care medics run out of. We have a couple of chief response vehicles. The thing to note, within the budget you saw, the $5.9 million, we have to replace our cardiac monitors every 10 years. That's scheduled for this year. In our proposal, we built that into the proposal for that replacement, so that's not a surprise cost to the fund. The Lucas device is an automated CPR device that handles the compressions for us that is very effective. We keep those all on our frontline rescues. stair chairs for moving patients, and then the power cot or the power lift systems, which are really nice for assisting lifts into the back of ambulances. So just a quick overview. For Logan City Fire Department, 72 total personnel. I'll try to focus on, in this budget, we have 26 line suppression and EMS employees. So as Rich had mentioned, the importance of this fund is critical to our ability to handle not just EMS, but fire response. It's almost half of our suppression people are also paramedics or AMTs. We run 20 personnel per battalion with our 3 battalions. We also have, we run an 18 minimum staffing daily to make sure we're meeting the NFPA 1710 response standard for fire and EMS, which is a national standard from the National Fire Protection Agency for how we should be responding to emergency incidents. And what's awesome, the number of 46 paramedics to 19 AMTs, and 4 of those 19 AMTs are actually in paramedic school right now. So we've been shifting to try to get as close to everyone at paramedic level as we can. Our 3 shift battalion chiefs are all paramedics. Maybe for the first time in the history of our fire department, all of our fire chiefs are paramedics, including all of our ICs, or our ACs and myself and our training chiefs. So that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, our Fire Prevention Bureau, which is affiliated with EMS, but they do handle all the prevention side of things within the fire department. So how, the final piece here is we have to go over the access. How do people access our service? So in our proposal, as we know, we have just a top-notch dispatch system here in Logan City. Our professionals in 911 are phenomenal, from Christy to Brian to all of the rest of the dispatchers. And we can't say enough about that system. They do a phenomenal job. Everyone in Logan, in our area, hopefully that when people call 911, they get them instantly, and that's the way it's supposed to work. The one thing, how we work is I'm going to show you the map of our response area, but you'll notice that if someone calls us, depending on their geographical location of the call, the closest ambulance and engine are paged. Now, there are times where if it's a serious call, I mentioned our critical care paramedic program, sometimes they will respond if needed, if the call requires it. And if in the event, which this happens often, particularly downtown, if that ambulance and that fire engine are busy on another call, dispatch it automatically through our response plans grabs the next available unit in the closest unit. And at times you'll see our battalion chief responding with them. Sometimes the medicals are very serious, especially with car accidents. We'll always have a battalion chief there for scene safety and additional help if needed. So to give everyone a piece, kind of an idea of the scale of what we're talking. So the little red box down there, that is our Logan City zones. The bright green line is the area that Logan City Fire and EMS responds in. So the big long squiggly is Logan Canyon. And so you can see our responsibilities. You can imagine in the winter and the summer, we do spend some time in the mountain up there. But we're required to kind of show you that access. They're working on access for 911 in the canyon, as everyone got to experience this year. So we'll be patient because really it's radio comms up there. It's a little more difficult. But down in the valley, here, as you can see, that's the close-up of the valley. The bright green is our total response area. The red is Logan City boundaries. You have North Logan there to the top. You can see the little dot, that's the station in North Logan. And then you can see our other 3 little dots in Logan City covering the other zones, including Providence and River Heights. And then out west to where the county picks up. So, I think it's important to mention, obviously we're so proud to serve the community and we're grateful to the citizens and the council and the mayor and staff for support shown to the fire department, considering our proposal to continue doing fire and EMS. So with that, if there's questions, I'd be happy to ask them. And as Rich said, we would be asking for hopefully a favorable recommendation to continue doing business.
Does anybody have any questions?
I'm just glad I've never had to use your services, and I hope I never do. But it's nice to know that such a well-oiled machine is behind.
I have had to use their services, and it was a lovely, pleasant ride that I could look out the back window with a broken cat from Beaver Mountain. So, yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Chief Thompson. I know this was probably a difficult experience for you going through this, but you took the time to meet with each of us individually and answer questions and go through it. And I really appreciate that, because it's quite the complex thing that the state has asked us to do. And I appreciate your extra time and effort and meeting with us and meeting with your staff.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Yeah. What's your number one takeaway from the process?
Oh, the number one takeaway.
He wants to change
Yeah, I
some
gotta
things.
be, well.
That our community is really lucky to have them because
Yeah.
they do an amazing
Doing
job.
an amazing
Yeah,
job.
absolutely.
I think that the best thing was to evaluate our system, to be able to honestly say, are we providing the best service? And our people are phenomenal. I mean, our staff, I mean, Logan City has such amazing paramedics and firefighters right now. Like, I've never seen, I've been here, almost 23 years, I've never seen the level of skill and professionalism as it is right now, truly. So just to see that and say, yeah, we're in a great place. And in kind of a crazy world, I would say.
Awesome. That's validating.
Thank you.
Nice job.
We will turn it back to you, Rich.
So based on that presentation, based on the fact that we only received one RFP, and even if we had received other RFPs, based on the fact that the cost of switching to somebody else would be outrageously significant to our taxpayers, our recommendation is to council that we select the Logan City Fire Department to continue providing EMS service. So we ask for a head nod from council, and then we will proceed with the rest of the statement.
So, you want a really
You want a
active
head
one?
nod, or do you want a motion?
Yeah,
Do
you want
need
an
a
active
motion?
one? No motion.
Just making sure everyone is in
Thumbs up,
agreement.
thumbs up.
I'll give you 2.
Yeah, I'll give you 2.
And I'll give you guys
Proceed with
2 and a
the
half.
contracting portion,
Thank
which
you.
will be easy because we're not going to contract with ourselves, that would be else.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the extra time with us as
Yeah.
well. Because we ask a lot of questions.
Yes, we do. So many questions.
So we will move now to our action items. We have 6 of them this evening. Our first action item is not a public hearing. It is the consideration of a proposed resolution authorizing the Fremont Solar Purchase Power Agreement Project transaction schedule. That's a lot to say. Under the Master Firm Power Supply Agreement with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems. I'd say that faster. I will turn the time over to Mark Montgomery.
I feel like I covered it pretty well last time. You've had the opportunity to read the documents that go along with this, and I would just offer to answer any questions if you have them.
So, Mark, UAMPS is a collective of cities and communities in Utah and in some other states.
Correct.
And they work together to create projects that are beneficial to some or all of them, depending upon what their power needs are. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so you all work together to determine what projects you'd like to focus on, and they work at trying to acquire the opportunity to build or create them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Remind us how many megawatts this proposed project,
Yeah.
how much we're purchasing.
This is 10, and it might bump incrementally, but not much. This is the project that we talked about, that some were talking about dropping out, and maybe we could pick up more. Well, a total of 3 megawatts got freed up, but a lot of other people want that, so we're going to get in whatever our share.
And this is five battery storage too.
10 megawatts of solar, 5 megawatts of battery
Battery,
storage,
okay.
correct? 4-hour storage.
And so that storage exists at the site, correct?
Correct.
And then it's transmitted over the power lines to us? Okay. Does anybody else have questions?
I do. Did you talk to the Power Advisory Board about this?
Yes, we spoke about it at our last meeting.
I recall that meeting. Did you take it to resab?
I did take it to resab.
Okay. And what did they say?
Well, they liked it.
And you were surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised about this one.
Okay.
It's our 15 megawatts we were looking for, Mike.
Well, 10 and 5, but yes.
10 plus 5.
Just for
plus
clarity's
15.
sake. Yeah.
No, that's correct.
Are we the largest share receiver?
You know, I'm not sure we're one of the larger ones, but I'm not sure that we're the largest.
Because if I remember seeing it correctly, we're about a little over 10%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
10.1%.
25 years, right?
25-year PPA, yep.
And again, because it does have the
35
battery
megawatts.
storage, it's more expensive than just straight solar, but again, it expands our
Correct.
capacity to extend into that peak
Makes it more
time.
flexible.
Yeah.
And it's a good addition to our
Anymore.
renewable portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to pass a resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-42.
And I'll
Second.
second the motion.
Okay, Ernesto
wrestle.
seconded,
I
arm
know,
wrestle.
arm wrestle you for it, so.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any further questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mark.
Mark.
And now, Mike Desmoni, we are going to talk about critical lands
Take your
overlay
10 and I'll
zone.
raise you 10, that's what
You
I.
didn't even make a comment about him not wearing a tie today.
Oh, he didn't have a tie today.
I let him get out the door first.
How disappointing that was.
Totally missed
I
it.
know, I was gonna call him
always
out,
got a
but then I
tie
saw
and
Mike
coat
getting
on.
ready without a tie and, you know.
Sorry, I should be more professional.
How dare you?
So just for
Those of you who
clarification.
don't come, that was the kind of a running joke about
Yeah.
Mark and his ties, so.
So
Mark,
just for
let go.
clarification, this particular ordinance, we have had two public hearings?
Two public hearings.
We've only had one.
Two. There was a two.
We've had two.
Did we have two?
We've had two.
We've had two
Yeah, we've
public
had two.
hearings.
Can I make a motion for 3?
No, we already approved
I?
our agenda.
It's not noticed, so we can't.
It's not noticed.
No, changing the
so-
agenda.
We've had two public hearings regarding this particular ordinance. It also went through Planning Commission, and they held a public hearing as well. We have made some changes, which is why we've continued it, and for some clarification and some changes. So I'll let you take it away from there.
Well, I don't know how much you want me to cover. The last public hearing, there were a lot of discussion about, what the right numbers were, but in a nutshell, what this proposed ordinance does is modify the setback requirements in riparian areas, modifies the setbacks in wetland areas. It clarifies the procedural elements associated with development in both of them. It doesn't impact floodplains at all. And then just a couple of points. This isn't being pushed by a specific developer or landowner or property owner. This is trying to address questions and issues that we've had as staff. How do we improve a right-of-way, a road within a right-of-way that's linear, that's next to a riparian area or next to a wetland? So how do you deal with that? And then it comes down to a value statement. What are the values? Do we value that resource, or do we value the public dollars it's going to take to shift things over? So that's, we as staff, myself, Russ, sat down with Mo and Kimber and Paul and Darren just to talk this through from their perspective, what's the best approach and how do we address this. It's also important to note, I think Ernesto sent me something that you got, I think everybody got, it was a 12-page thing with a lot of photos. All those photos show bigger picture issues, and none of them are relevant to this discussion as it applies in Logan City. So these changes apply primarily from 10th West upriver. And when I sent you in the last packet, I included a list of vacant parcels that would be affected by it. So really, there's not a lot of vacant available land that this would affect. I added some changes to the riparian setback. Basically, it's here's a number, but also look at what's next to you so that you can do an average of what's adjacent to you.
You have to do the greater of.
The greater of, correct.
Yeah.
So the number I threw out was 25 feet, but in fact, that really only affects one property, right? That's vacant, residentially zoned property. The bulk of the setbacks of the average adjacent structures was around 35 to 50, or if not greater. We proposed to change the setbacks for commercial uses to 40 feet instead of 25 feet. Wetlands, we kept at 25 feet. And then also, we had a proposal in there for roads within a wetland buffer to 20 feet as backup curve, measured to backup curve. So other than that, it seemed pretty straightforward when we put it together.
And then the
There's a lot of
proposal for
questions.
anything that will annex into Logan City
Right.
in the future along the river would be the 100-foot setback.
Yes, so the
With
photos
the
you saw,
conservation easement.
the photos that you saw really were a lot of land that's outside of Logan City. So as things are annexed in, we have the requirement for a 100-foot riparian buffer for those areas. We also have a requirement in there that if you're adjacent to Logan River or the Little Logan, you've got to give us or provide a 100-foot conservation easement as well as a trail easement. So there's protection as you expand outward. And one of the comments was about, well, all new neighborhoods. Well, there's really no more land available for a new neighborhood in Logan City. So everything new is to the west, and it would apply to those two standards.
Right. And just to note, from along the river, from 600 west to 1000 west, that is already in a conservation easement, which UDOT built, again, at our urging, as part of the SR 30 trade-offs. We negotiated to have that easement in our city, and then from 10th west all the way to Trapper Park and a little further north, again, we purchased the conservation easement on the north side of the river, which again has the 100-foot, setback from the river. We're putting the bridge in, probably sometime in November, which will then give us access, and then we can start to work on building a trail, which will open that conservation easement along the river to the public, but also provide that setback. So
That
again,
riparian
really everything along the river that's not developed,
It's publicly owned.
yeah, it's kind of publicly owned and is preserved at that level.
So there were a couple of questions that came. There is a property that I remember distinctly discussing across from the golf course that is currently an agricultural field. And it has Spring Creek and part of Blacksmith Fork in it, I
Yeah,
think.
it's entirely within a floodplain.
So it's entirely within floodplain, so its development requirements, the floodplain comes first.
Yeah, you'd have to elevate your building pad, your site above the base flood elevation. In fact, we went above and beyond the base flood elevation 1 foot, we require 2 feet.
Higher.
And then you have to engineer the displacement of water from that site. Where's that water going to go, and how do I account for that somewhere else? So that's the first issue to overcome, the technical issue. The second one would be the riparian setbacks, and then if there are wetlands there.
But if they did overcome the floodplain, would the riparian setbacks in those areas, that piece and the piece that sits along the Blacksmith Fork River across from cold storage, from Zollinger's cold storage, if they were to mitigate their floodplain issues, what would be their setback for riparian?
I would assume they're going to go commercial would be a 40-foot setback,
But if they were to go residential,
25 feet.
it would be 25.
Based on this proposed.
Right,
That's right.
but they would first have to mitigate all of the floodplain issues.
Correct.
Okay.
It would make those lots so expensive, nobody could afford them. So,
Well, I know that the one piece of property wasn't, they requested a rezone at one point, but we didn't rezone it.
It's zoned
It's
resource
ag.
conservation.
Yeah,
It's that triangular shaped piece. It's pretty low.
Yep,
I would guess that they'll have a challenging time to deal with the flood issue through there.
very challenging.
Yeah.
and it's ag land right now, and it is valuable as agriculture.
Yes, if it's actively farmed, it can continue with that.
Okay.
So it would require a rezone as well as the mitigation.
Correct.
Well, I had the opportunity to meet with Mike and Paul and Mo and just about this. Because to me, there's really two different issues. The riparian, I feel very comfortable, although I know Mike brought up at our last meeting that standard is recommended as 35 feet, not 25 feet, so I think we can have a conversation about that. But for me, the wetland and some of the things in there. I'm just still very uncomfortable with those. And I think as you referenced, there's that trade-off between cost if we don't allow roads, because I think what would be helpful for me would be to see a citywide map of where do we have some of those collector roads that bump up closer to wetlands. And I know you've shown us a map, but it's hard to kind of ascertain and dig out. So I'm still very uncomfortable with the whole wetland piece of things, but I'm not uncomfortable with the riparian. So I don't know if other people would be comfortable with amending this to remove, I don't know if we separate out the riparian to say we're going to pass that. But I still have some consternation about the wetland setbacks. That's where I'm at.
Anyone else?
Well, before we decide on that, one of the emails that I got, I think was misinterpreting the current ordinance in the way that a wetland can be filled in or not. Could you clarify that for me and for everyone else, whether that's possible or not?
Yeah, and I don't know the source of that document where it listed in a bullet point about you can't fill a wetland. You can fill a wetland. So the methodology is, if you've got a wetland on your property, you've got to get a wetland delineation. The Corps has to agree to that delineation, and they've got kind of a multifaceted step about, we'll accept your delineation, we agree to the boundary, we'll regulate it, have a nice day. Or if you dispute the delineated boundary, you can go through the jurisdictional process, which refines that down. But the way our ordinance reads currently is that if you go through the court, the permitting process, you can obtain a permit from the court to fill that wetland, and then you deal with them through their mitigation requirements. There are also a number of things you can do through the court's abbreviated process. So, for example, you can fill up to 1/10 of an acre with a modified nationwide permit, or you can install utilities in a wetland with a modified nationwide permit. So once you've gone through the process to obtain a court permit to fill, our ordinance says it's out of our jurisdiction. You follow their rules. We also say in the current ordinance is that if you go through the process to delineate a wetland and the Corps of Engineers says it's not a jurisdictional wetland, it's not a water of the United States, it's an isolated wetland, we don't regulate that wetland. So you're okay to fill that. We don't regulate it.
Without any permits and...
Right, yeah.
So delineated means that the Army Corps of Engineers has recognized that particular wetland area as a body of water of the United States of America.
Yeah, so a wetland delineation, if I'm the landowner, I've got to hire somebody who's an expert in that field, whether it's an engineer, a biologist, somebody who's got the ability to go out and draw a line around a piece of property, which typically has 3 indicators: water, soils, and vegetation. So you've got to have all 3 indicators to say, here's the boundary of that wetland. So then you submit to the Corps of Engineers for them to review it, evaluate. They'll either accept it or deny it or not accept it. And then, again, it gets back to that 2-step process. If they accept it, we'll accept jurisdiction over it. If you dispute the boundary as the landowner, you can go through the jurisdictional process, which may allow you to refine that boundary now. But in a nutshell, that's the Corps saying it's a water of the United States. It's in our jurisdiction.
And so when an individual comes to us with a project on a piece of property, do we already know, because we've photographed or we have looked at, do we know where those wetlands potentially are? And do we say, you have wetlands that need to be delineated, or you have wetlands that we don't care about? How do we do that?
No, there's not a process that triggers that immediately. It's generally when somebody applies for a project, then it's our staff evaluates it, and based on aerial photography as well as the National Wetland Inventory maps, that's that high layer of mapping that says there might be wetlands here. And as we started this process, I showed you some aerials that show that NWI layer. It's very broad. And it's really about somebody looking at just the characteristics they see, whether it's a little bit darker than what's around it, whether there's some kind of ditch that's leading into it. So there's some assumptions that are made that may or may not be a wetland. That's what we use to help us say, hey, you've got a wetland, you've got to take care of it first. Go do a delineation. But it's not a perfect science. So we don't necessarily send somebody out like a biologist to say, hey, let's walk your property first to figure that out. It's staff may have knowledge of it, we may know from a neighbor or from those maps, but that's what we use to trigger the review.
Okay.
How common is it for somebody that is submitting a permit application with the intent to fill a wetland? How common is it that it gets approved?
How common is it to be approved?
Yeah,
What do you mean, by us or by the Corps?
by the Corps.
Their approval is based on the ability to mitigate those impacts. So it's not that simple. They typically want you to mitigate within the same watershed and preferably in a mitigation bank that's already established and approved. It's not as simple as I'm going to fill this piece of ground, I'm going to dig a hole over here. It's not that simple because you have to replicate the resource that you're removing somewhere else, and it does take a matter of time to replicate that. So it doesn't just happen overnight. So like in the case of Willow Lakes, they went through the Corps to delineate the wetlands on that entire site. They went through the permitting process to mitigate for the removal of some of those wetlands, and their mitigation was done on site. It's wetland enhancement. So they've got some degraded wetlands near the river that they have gone through and are going through to improve it by removing invasive species, replanting trees, reshaping some of the ground to provide more flow of water. They're doing restoration of the Little Logan River. So they're going to go in and they've scraped that, they're going to replant it. They're going to put shelves in to allow for more flood attenuate or more flood water coming in and out of there, and then recreate some wetlands over time. So it's not as simple as, yeah, fill this hole, dig this hole.
But it took them 3 years.
It took them 3 years because they also have endangered species on the site. And so part of their mitigation was to create a conservation easement on that area that's got that Ute lady truss.
Lady truss.
Yeah, a little plant. So.
We were
So it takes some energy and time to get there, and a lot of it comes down to is what's my return on investment of my property. So is it worth my time? Am I going to get enough out of it to fill this, mitigate over here, because it's very expensive. Yeah. It's very costly, and it's very time consuming.
We were looking at a piece of property 17 years ago to do some commercial work on it, and there was some wetlands to mitigate, and it got so expensive we just decided not to do it. It took them 14 years to mitigate that, so now somebody else has purchased it, so it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mike?
Probably.
So there might be one or two that come up. But
Here all night.
you want to be?
Do you need a sandwich?
Yes.
Well, I know first I'd like to thank everybody who wrote to us on this. We did get quite a bit of comment, and I know there's a lot of concerns about whether or not we're taking the appropriate time and whether we've consulted some of the area experts in this field. And, but again, thanks to everybody for weighing in. We did get an email about the riparian as far as the language that's being used between dwelling. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. To say that the setback, that adjudication between things would be residential dwellings. I'm not sure if the language really matters with that one, Mo.
You probably should say adjacent residential structures.
She said adjacent residential dwellings versus adjacent residential buildings, because it could be a shed, it could
Or a
be
garage.
a garage or something. Yeah, so not structure, but to say that it's the dwelling itself.
What we
and
want
I
is it
don't
to be
know.
the house.
Just say dwelling.
Okay,
Dwelling.
say
so
dwelling.
Instead
that
of
it's dwelling versus
Garage
structure.
or shed or
Yeah.
pool house.
So that was one, I think,
Treehouse.
relevant comment that we received from some of our citizens. And then, is there a designation between the wetland for for ag?
Yeah,
The suggestion was that it should be 50 feet for riparian,
Yeah, that's been-
agricultural use.
That was changing here for the riparian. It was a typo on the wetland,
Oh, okay.
so that should be 50 feet as well.
Okay,
And that is in.
that's correct. Okay, thank you.
It would be nice if this were just an environmental situation, but there's a lot of consequences that are tied to this, being financial and legal as well too, because if we keep it at 100 feet on some of these lots that are already built around and they can no longer build anything on those lots, then we have a legal taking that we have to consider as well too. And so there's some legal issues there as well. If we restrict them from building because their lot's 140 feet deep and they have to set back 100 feet, but then they have to set back 25 from the road, now they can build a 10-foot wide house on that property. And I think that would qualify as a legal taking, Mo, wouldn't it?
It could potentially be a regulatory taking, yeah.
Which is
And then we-
against the law.
Which is against the law.
Yeah, and then we'd be open for legal
We
actions.
do have a reasonable use exception, but it should be an exception. It shouldn't be that you're applying that reasonable use exception to every single piece of property.
Well, and I think that the reasonable use is like, it's farmland. And so it's being used as farmland now, and so we're not taking away the ability to use the land.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we have it defined,
Yeah, these lots are not.
yeah, if the landowner believes the application of any provision of this chapter would deny all reasonable economic use, so it's got to be reasonable economic use. And, you know, my definition of that may be different from the next person.
But if it's been one thing, say it's been farmland, and
You can continue to use it as farmland.
yeah, you can continue to use it as farmland, so we haven't done a
That is a fair
regulatory taking.
argument.
It's not reasonable to expect to go from farmland to a hotel. That's an unreasonable expectation. So if you've got some viable use that you've been doing on your property, whether it's ag, whether it's an existing house, you're entitled to continue that, and that's a reasonable expectation of use.
Okay.
It's when you jump up to something above and beyond what you've been practicing.
So in the case of these, lots
Infill.
in the middle, infill lots,
Mm-hmm.
do they have a reasonable expectation to be able to build a house on that, based on the neighborhood?
I think they do, because the argument is if I own that vacant piece of property, that vacant residential lot, I look to the left, I look to the right, there's already existing dwellings out there, and this lot was platted at the same time as they were. It's just a function that over time I didn't develop until now I want to start building a house. So we have to be able to justify, from the city's perspective, that there's an environmental loss or degradation by allowing them to put a house there, and we can't make the same argument because those houses are already built on the other side.
Okay,
So that's different than a vacant piece of property. The property you raised earlier, that example, where it's already used for pasture, it's low-lying, it's got multiple environmental issues. Is it reasonable to suggest that I can run my cattle on it, or I can raise horses, or I can till it? Is it reasonable to say my reasonable use is to allow us to put a 24-coax or a hill?
yeah.
And probably not.
Which is a different environmental issue.
Yeah.
Cows and farming.
So,
So to that point, can you pull the table up that you did for us in the last meeting with the map, with the 6 maps?
Which one?
the table
The
was,
table that had that had all the addresses and
This one that I have in front of me.
the other one that I have in front of me too, but I don't know.
I don't think I had it on a slide.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was just emailed.
It was
So
one
there's
of the
a-
previous ones, yeah.
there's that one address at 1400 Canyon Road that's got the short, it was in the first map, it's got the
Oh, it's the very-
1500.
you had it in the presentation last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
2
if
weeks
that,
ago.
so that,
It was that one right there.
yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yep.
So
13.
a reasonable use accommodation would be possible for them if they fell outside of whatever, it's because that's one where, if we're saying it's the average of the two or 25 or whatever, or greater, does that allow them?
It would, but we also have it in the code now explicitly saying that it's allowed, right? Because there's adjacent property owners. Isn't that how you have it written down?
But we have it at the greater of the
25
average.
feet
Or the average, which we discussed last time, would
Yeah.
be 47 feet.
Well,
'cause
so the
you're-
little lot, the little vacant lot's got the
Yeah.
two red lines, so.
Yeah.
So the first line closest to the river is an average of the two adjoining structures. So that would put it at, what, 15 feet?
15 feet.
The second line, and this is just me on a map with fat fingers.
Yeah,
The furthest line is 25 feet, and that's an approximation. So under the proposal, they would be able to get a house. It may not be their dream house, it may not be the biggest house, they would at least be able to put something on there.
But it would have to be 25 feet back.
Correct. Now, the issue that was raised in one of the emails is the other lot that's got a structure on the downriver side, the left side, it's 47 feet, and nothing on the upriver side. So how do you average that out? And this is where
because
you.
that lot is,
Right, so this is where you're trying to write black and white rules and apply them to gray world.
Right.
You can't write every scenario. So when I look at that, I would say, well, it seems to be fair that you would take the average of 47 feet and then apply that to 25 feet and average that two out.
You wouldn't average.
Well, if they divided that property, it would be at 47 feet if they put a lot right first, and then it would apply the same way as you go further to the triangle,
Yeah,
right?
I think I understand you, yes.
You're right on.
Well, no, I mean, if they were to subdivide the property into three parcels, say,
Okay.
the first parcel, if they built a house on it, would have to be back 47 feet because the one next to it is.
But then the next one would also have to be at 47 feet because the one next to it is.
Yeah,
Well,
And the next one.
that's where I think we would apply 47 feet and 25 feet and average those two out because there's not a house on the right side of it or the uphill side of it.
So you'd go with the average of 47 and 25.
That's how I
For
would
that.
apply it.
Have you been to either of those lots?
I know we're both, I mean, it's not like I've wandered around them, but I've passed them numerous times.
Difficult
Yeah, I've
to
never walked
even
them.
consider
I've run past them.
building anything on. They
But then
are-
also you look at
they're
the
tricky.
parking,
They are.
the parking lot at the water lab, which is already existing. I mean, it's probably
5 feet.
15,
Yeah,
10 feet from the river, so there are some existing conditions that
At the
just
water lab?
are what they are.
at the water lab.
You said it louder than I said it.
Well, because we talked about that the other
We did
day
talk
in
about
Parks
it.
and Rec, yeah.
We're parking
so
lots by
how
water
would
lab.
you all like to proceed?
Well, you had suggested you thought we should discuss 35 versus 25.
I mean,
Are you,
Yeah.
is that still something you'd like to?
I don't think I'm willing to go below 35.
So
Based
Person.
on.
my question is first,
I don't know who to answer
I
first.
think first, me.
Okay, Madam Chair can go first.
Go for it, Jeannie.
I think that first we should decide whether we want to consider the entire ordinance together or whether we want to consider splitting off a piece of it and only dealing with one part of it. That would be my suggestion to start with, because that zeroes in our conversation more,
Which
if
is
that's
what-
the case.
Which is what Amy
Yes.
Which is what I-
suggested, right? And
what
I
Amy
would
suggested.
support that.
Okay.
Would the
No.
plan be to continue that other portion or just send it back to staff and say, bring it back at some
Don't
point in the future?
continue it.
We have to,
Okay,
we have
that's,
to,
We can't
we
continue
have to
it
get
because
to the
it's a
point,
different
that point.
well, I know, I'm just asking, because I don't think I would want to just continue part of it. I think just send it back to staff.
I think
It can come back at a future date.
if you're inclined that you agree with the way it's written, but you don't like certain elements, then just approve what you like and deny whatever you don't like. And then at some point in the future, if we want to bring it back through the same process,
Planning commission goes through
right,
it.
then we can do that.
So should we divide it officially and say we
You can
want
do a
to?
motion, I mean, you can say we approve this portion and deny this other portion.
Yeah.
Is it easier to just deny the entire ordinance today and have it come back with just that portion?
No.
No, okay, just asking.
No, we probably would wait till.
I just know it's a fairly complex ordinance for us to make amendments on the fly.
But I don't think you're really amending it on the fly, you're just going in between the riparian and for example.
Okay.
So may I get a sense from everyone how you feel about the wetland portion I've heard from too? Just how you feel about continuing discussion about it, or do you want to focus on riparian? How would you rather go forward?
I am
Well,
okay.
I've expressed, I think,
Yep.
I would like to see us remove 1724-110.
Okay,
that would be where I would be sitting today.
Can we remove it by motion, or do you want us to?
I would say just at the end, either deny that portion or approve that, whatever you're gonna do.
Okay.
So approve the motion with that amendment.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you say, for example, we approve X and deny Y.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. That'll be fun when you have to give.
I'm ready.
Make a motion, Amy.
Well, I think we,
Well, I think there's other things.
yeah, there's other things we
discuss
need to
before.
discuss in the motion before. But
So for,
I'm open and agreeable to that.
for time's sake, let's focus on riparian
Works for me. So,
and see if we can get whatever we want out of that.
And I'll say again, based on much of the comments that we received from our community on that.
so
But I
just
do
for
want to
clarity,
emphasize the fact that we have continued the 100-foot setback on any new annexation that is next to the river, or rivers collected.
just for clarity for the public who is listening, Mike, if we are not approving the portion of 1724 and 110.110, which is the wetland portion, setbacks on wetlands would stay at
50 feet.
50 feet. Okay.
And that would include pretty much everything.
All wetland delineated
Yeah,
areas.
so you might want to, instead of just flat out say we don't like 110, maybe go through and itemize the things you don't like and carve those out. But there are things in there that are relevant, like, allowing for a park and a trail
Sure.
within a wetland buffer,
And allow them to build away from the wetland.
and allowing, to build a road away from the resource as opposed
Well-
to saying no altogether.
Well, yeah, I guess I would like to say I don't know, I feel like it has issues that I don't want to particularly say this one is the one we need to change it to, and this one we want to change it to, because then we
Like the
could just
picking and
change it.
choosing.
Then we could just change it here
Change it right now, yeah.
and pass it. I really feel like it needs additional conversation with respect to the road piece and even the trail piece, but trail has a lot less impact on a wetland than a road does. And 20 feet for a road and then curb, gutter, and sidewalk, it's right on top of a wetland. And I don't know whether that's the message we want to send to the future. That's my opinion.
Is the future listening?
I hope so.
I think I would echo Jeannie that I think some of my concerns that I have in the wetland section is the 20-foot for road. I also do think 25 for wetland is a bit smaller overall than I would probably be comfortable with, would be two of the concerns that I would have. I also don't love the 50% disturbance, but we have discussed that, and I'll just heavily sigh sometimes.
The easiest thing might be to just deny all of it and then just make sure you articulate what it is you want to see so that we don't come back and have to do stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
But we probably won't do it again until after the first of the year, just because of timing and stuff.
Yeah. Deny just the wetland section or deny the whole
Well, if you have
ordinance?
issues with the riparian stuff and understanding what it means to allow you to reduce 50% of your riparian habitat or eliminate it, and if there are concerns, then at least articulate so I know what it is the concern is so that we can address it. If you're satisfied with what we've done, the approach in the riparian area, yeah, do that. Don't do any of the wetland changes. We still need to address some of the issues about building a roadway within a right-of-way. We want to do it right,
Yep.
and we don't want to come back 19 times.
Well, and we just did it 2 years ago, so you don't want to be
Yeah.
every 6 months changing it. Pardon?
So the issues have been raised, though. I mean, that's why we're back here, is because as we've tried to apply this, you realize it's not as simple as writing just a black and white rule and apply it in a situation that's not, linear. So that's why we're back having a discussion, because it's not that easy. And there are ramifications, right? So in terms of building a road, I think Paul shared an email with you about we get a lot of COG funding for roadways. So if we have
enhanced restrictions on how we build roadways, and we compete with other jurisdictions for funding, then they may look at that in a different light and say, you know what, you're asking us to give you more money to work around this area, when I can give it to projects, we'll just go straight through. So whether that's right or wrong, that's the rationale that we have to look at.
Perhaps what we end up saying to them is, we're trying to protect the environment.
Perhaps they care, perhaps they don't.
And part of it is,
That's
you're
the truth.
protecting the setback towards anything that would come into Logan in the future. I mean, to some, it's not protected, right. It's not protected until this is adopted.
Right.
So is there
Sorry.
some risk if, we don't know of anyone wanting to come in, but it would be nice to have that protection in place, in my view, but I don't know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Based on conversations I've had with Mike and other council members, I think we can find a way forward on the riparian portion tonight. I believe that there's a way forward on that. I'm happy to leave out the wetland for now and bring that back later if that's what others want to do, or discuss it. I think the things that, based on conversations I've had with others, that I would like to see changed based on how it's written right now, and conversations we had.
Your wetland, correct?
Riparian.
Oh,
So leaving wetland as is and not including that
Okay.
in the motion, not that I'm
so
making a
the
motion yet.
changes you want in riparian?
In riparian.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Did I say that wrong?
No.
Okay.
You just said the changes you want, and I wasn't sure.
In just the riparian section, I do think it's valuable to include the entire north branch of the Little Logan River, and I think that would be something I'd like to see changed. I personally would be uncomfortable going below 35 feet setback on a riparian area, and I do agree with Amy on the residential dwellings amendment to the code so that we're using houses.
So would you like to make a motion?
If there's further
Would
conversation
you
on
like to
that.
clarify why you're saying 35 though? Because it's
Yes.
not just
That was the
a number
question I
you're
had.
pulling
Sure,
out of your head.
and I was trying to find the document again today, but it's, in our meeting.
From the NRCS.
Well, it's from the EPA.
Yeah.
So the EPA has a guideline that I've talked with some of you and Mike about, that their minimum buffer for wetland recommendation is 35.
Riparian.
Riparian, yes, the minimum buffer for riparian is 35, what they say is 35 to 5,000 feet, which is a large range. My first instinct was to go with 5,000 feet and just buffer the entire city.
Entire city, yeah.
And I know that makes it look like, and maybe we are going for the minimum. I do think it is applicable based on the infill nature of this, and also based on the fact that it's probably not the biggest or most impactful river in North America, which I might get a hate email or two over.
It's also a false assumption that everyone is going to go for the minimum,
Right.
because that's not always the case, so.
But I would be uncomfortable going below the minimum of 35 recommended by the EPA. And then obviously we're including that 100-foot buffer on each side of any future riparian annexation. But truthfully, we are looking at this dozen or so infill lots, and I think 35 gets us somewhere, and then we can look
For
at-
houses and.
For houses. and we-
40 for commercial.
40 for commercial, yes, correct.
Okay, make your motion.
Would you like to make a motion?
If there's further discussion, Ernesto,
So would just an even 40 for both commercial and residential, would that even be cleaner and preferable rather than having two different?
don't you like messy and gooey?
Not necessarily.
It's up to everybody.
I'm open to 40 if that wants to be a discussion. As I said, I'm minimum, I'm not willing to go below 35. I'm open to further discussion if others want to. I'm just laying my cards on the table. That's my minimum.
35 is great.
25 is off the table for me.
Yeah, so basically, when we look at that table, then we've got a couple that are, like they were at 35. So with the 40 would be,
There's one at 35, one at 39.
That's still with the average,
the
right?
average.
But it would have to be the greater.
The
of
greater of two, yeah.
So a couple of these
35
lots
is
you're
going to be your
pushing it.
minimum no matter what, because a lot of those is going to be 40 to 7, to 40 to 60 anyway, so,
You're changing 3 lots?
yeah.
If you go to 40?
No, if you go to
No,
35,
35,
you're changing
yeah.
5 lots. And if you go to 40, you're affecting two more lots. So we're talking 5 versus 7 lots, if I'm counting correctly. Now that it's on the public record, I'll recount again.
Just do the 35.
So,
They also have the reasonable use exception.
They do.
That is an option that would have to run through, correct?
Yeah.
I'm seeing 3 that you'd affect at 35 and 2 more you'd affect at 40.
would you like to make a motion?
No one wants to back our Nestos 40?
You just said you would, so
Okay.
I'm
I
asking.
mean, okay, I'll make a
you.
motion at 40. I'll move we,
35 is fine.
You do whatever you want to do.
okay, I'm going to make a motion that we approve ordinance 25-11 with the amendments of including the entire north branch of the Little Logan River, a minimum riparian setback of 40 feet, adjusting the language to include residential dwellings, not just structures, and then removing 1724, 110 from the changes. Was that clear to everyone?
Can I
Everyone knows.
add one thing?
Yes,
So
Mike.
Up on the screen, there's that last bullet, which would be the catch-all. So we've identified riparian areas as Logan River, Blackstone Fork, Spring Creek, and then now the Little Logan. The last one would say, okay, if the state does identify another water body as within their jurisdiction, this would say it's also a riparian area.
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
So do you need to add the
So
little?
that's
Do I need
something
to add
that's
that
not in
language?
here the way,
Correct.
that's not in here right now.
Oh, is that not in there right now?
Right.
Okay, and I would like to add that language too, Teresa. Can I say that way? Including any future.
What about allowing parks or trails? I mean, is this going to
Okay, no,
affect our?
this is just riparian. So,
Are we completely,
okay, are you comfortable with your motion?
sure.
Is there a second?
You said 40.
I did say 40.
Is there a second to that
Second
motion?
that motion.
Okay. Now, we will open it to any further discussion.
I've already said what I needed to say, so I'm good.
I'm inclined to stick to 35,
Yeah.
just because I feel like it opens up more,
Should I give you guys a,
just say, that's,
We worked on this sucker for a month, just like,
so,
I don't even know what to call this,
We can-
a peace offering, I would just say. I read the Robert's Rules of Order.
So,
It's a big book. You can postpone a motion indefinitely.
so may I
read
ask
that.
you,
pardon?
Go
may I
ahead,
ask
go.
you, both of you, the 5 feet difference, it's such a big issue that you wouldn't support the 40, what is the,
For me, it's just, as I look at that table, it just sets us up for more people to be trying to get, reasonable use exceptions, and I just think that that's a burden
Yeah.
on staff. So to me, the 35, I think, is appropriate, it meets the EPA minimum requirement. That's my thought, my thought behind
yeah,
it.
we have
Too
that
light.
process in place, but I agree with Amy, so, but
It's
40
2
is
lots is the difference.
I know, but it's not your lot.
It's not your lot either.
I know, but I know how that feels when the city
Sure.
says, sorry, you can't build that on your lot, and it's not fun.
Mike, how well do you know these lots?
Mike?
Would it make them unbuildable in your opinion? The two we'd be looking at is 1100 Canyon Road
I think you could also ask
and
Jeannie,
1050 Sumac Road.
you could ask Jeannie what her opinion is.
I could. No, I'm
because
just
it is,
asking.
I
I know, I'm just asking. Have you looked at them that closely? 1100 Canyon Road and 1050 Sumac Road would be the
I
two
gave you
ones.
the table.
1050 Sumac.
I think it'll just be a
1050
challenge on a couple of those lots to develop to anything.
It's at 39, and that one's at 35. It is the only 2 lots that are between.
1050 Sumac is my son's house.
Well, apparently he lives in an empty field.
No, he doesn't.
Are you sure?
Unless Sumac Road and Sumac something are different.
there are some power portions like that. That's right.
I know that, but his address is 1050
Make a
Sumac.
motion to postpone,
That is a bar.
which kills the motion.
Voted down.
Almost by the bridge.
I took the address off of the GIS space map, so it could be that there's a discrepancy on there, but it's a vacant lot.
I did my research.
Okay, well, it's his, isn't by the river. Because I had to, it was originally in the floodplain, but I had to have it taken out of the
This is going
floodplain.
to trail and conservation easement.
Would it?
So,
That's my question.
If we just remove the wetland section,
Yeah, because he said, didn't he say it permitted trails?
can we ask them? Because
pardon me? I don't know what's going on over here.
I'm asking her to speak up.
I had a question, because Mike said there were some things, if I understood correctly, in 1724 110 that would allow trails within that setback.
Within the,
So we committed, to build trails in our conservation easement, which, may have, I'm just wondering if that affects.
right now, it would
Doesn't
not affect
exist,
it.
'cause
Would it? It would not affect it. It's more than 50 feet away.
We're just removing the changes.
Again, we don't know exactly where that trail is going to go at this point. I'm asking a theoretical question. I don't know.
The answer is maybe, depends on where the trail is, but yeah. There's some structural changes in here that I really think we might want to look at before we just chuck the whole section out, because what we try to do is define in 110, when is a core permit required, at what point in our process, when do we require you to show that you applied for a core permit? And right now, we don't have that guidance. I think if the heartburn is with the setback, if that's what the issue is, then don't change the setback
And leave the rest.
Leave it at 50
Yeah,
feet.
just leave it at 50.
I mean, I don't know if you agree with,
But that affects roads and trails as it's written today.
it affects roads, correct. It doesn't necessarily affect trails or park facilities.
Mo
Those
is
are just
crinkling his eyebrows.
allowed and
Well, if we-
placed in the wetland
If we
buffer.
put a road in, then
So we specifically identified road construction at 20 feet from back of curb. Back of curb. We also have language in here that allows you to expand a road within a right-of-way, even though it's in the wetland buffer, you can expand it away from the wetland as opposed to saying no. Because right now we say you can't do that within the wetland buffer, period.
As much as I love expanding roads,
I know.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table. So we either have to withdraw the motion or vote on it soon.
soon? Madam Chair,
So,
can I ask the council, would you like to have further discussion on the wetland section? Because if you'd like to discuss the wetland section right now, I am willing to withdraw my motion.
if we keep the wetlands at 50, does that satisfy Amy's concerns and
Including
your
roads?
concerns?
I think that we had some major questions raised by our public works about keeping it at 50, so I'm not sure that I would want to pass it at 50 if there are some major considerations, which is why we think, that Mike's saying it could be brought back to council within a couple of months with all of those issues addressed. We're not going to be doing anything between now and January anyway on these issues. I would just suggest that we make sure all the parts of it are the way that everybody wants, without just yanking out the road piece.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, you might not get to vote on that.
It'll just be delayed, we'll come back with.
Right, I said, geez.
So there is a motion and a second on the table.
No, well, yeah.
Is there any
Or they
further
still might not get to
discussion
vote on it.
regarding
Might get
that
to vote on
motion?
it.
Yes. Can we put a rough timeline on asking you to bring that back within the next 6 months so that it's not hanging for the next year?
Sure. We can do it within the next 6 months.
So do you want to include that in your motion?
Sure.
Is that okay with you?
So that I'm included in the emotion that that community development will bring back 1724-110 within the next 6 months to us. So we have, yes, the wetland portion. So we have the winter to figure that out.
Yeah, I may not get to vote on it, as Mark
Then
reminded
the
me.
second
but
has
yeah.
to accept the friendly amendment,
Do
right?
you agree with that?
You won't get to vote either.
No, I might not.
All right,
The second has to accept the amendment.
He did.
he did. I just asked
He
you.
accepted my 7th amendment on this motion.
Okay, so the motion is on the table. There is a second. Changes have been approved. People have discussed it. Are there any further discussions regarding the motion?
Do you have any discussion? Because you've been.
No, we'll call the question. Would you like to vote one at a time or all at once?
All at once.
You're the chair.
Vote all at once.
All those in favor of the revised motion presented by Mike
As amended.
and as amended and seconded by Ernesto, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Mine was a
Because of the 35.
Mine was a reluctant aye, but I was like, all right, fine, if that's what you want.
Okay,
to do.
motion carries
Because it was
4-1.
Yeah.
The remainder of that particular section to come back to us in a more comprehensively revised iteration within 6 months.
Let's do it again in 6 months. So much fun.
Or in 2 months.
Okay, the same.
Yep.
Within 6 months.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And thank you to everyone who
He's not
participated
ready to hear all
and sent us letters and asked for responses. We really do appreciate it. And please know that we did respect the 100 feet for anything that comes into Logan, because the further west we go, the more wetlands and the more riparian area there is for us to preserve.
Good
We'll
answer.
move now to another set of code amendments. Mike?
In the future.
Okay. These are a little different, different subject matter, but they are generally procedural. We went through them before, I'll just breeze through them again. These are some update amendments, orders 2517 to chapter 1708, 37, 40, 51, and 62. So the first one is changing the process that we review short-term rentals. Currently requires a conditional use permit. What we're realizing, what the planning commission is saying, look, all we're doing is just stamping these. We can do this through the business license process. It doesn't change what's required when they notify surrounding property owners. They're still required to walk around something and also mail something. So all it does is just eliminate the PC out of the process. Okay? Second one is beekeeping. We had to update our rules to be consistent with the state. Just some minor changes there. Third thing is subdivisions. We wanted to increase the minor subdivision from 3 to 6 lots. And really it's about process. A major subdivision goes to planning commission. A minor, it's administrative. It's not a big impact. It's only on those occasional projects where they might have 4 lots, and typically commercial subdivision. It just makes it quicker for that person to get through the system. We also, go ahead.
I was going to ask, so just as a suppose, recently, Planning Commission approved a subdivision up in the neighborhood, up by, what's the name of that park?
Gibbons?
Gibbons Park.
Right.
It was not a large subdivision. Was it large enough that it would have
Still go
still,
through PC.
it would still have gone through PC?
Right.
So, and the thing subdivisions, I'm a little sensitive about flag lots. I mean, we had some problems with them a long time ago, and I thought we fixed it, and now I hear we're talking about it again.
Thursday, PC.
Because I really don't like flag lots. I think we need a complete street process in our block, especially in our historic downtown. We need a complete street process, but that's what, they would end up being that minor subdivision. Correct?
Could be, yeah.
That would never go to
And
planning
they currently
commission.
would be now as well. So the thing about the subdivision process, it's really administrative. There's not a lot of latitude for the planning commission or for somebody to come in and complain about a subdivision. As long as they meet the minimum standard, minimum lot sizes, minimum frontages, minimum requirements, we cannot deny it. You may not like it,
Right.
but we have to approve
It'll
it.
go to planning commission and they'll say, okay, we don't love it, but we have to approve it anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, but,
So this doesn't change that element.
okay, I know that.
So like in the case with flag lot, if it's a 2-lot subdivision, we do it administratively. If it's a 3-lot subdivision, we do that administratively. In this case, what we're saying is raise that threshold to 6 lots.
Okay, but
And just, I've heard like there might be state legislation coming down mandating that flag lot development needs to be allowed in the state too. So I think like we may not have a choice shortly on what we do with flag
Well,
lots.
I just, it's not the flag lot thing, to me, creates these like little pockets of hidden houses.
With
Where
private roads.
the way we envisioned it was that we would try and maintain the complete street so that if you did the inside of the block, you had to put a road into it. So it was a block, it would create blocks instead of little don't know how else to say it, but anyway.
Flag lots.
So I just, that's.
This doesn't affect that at all.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
What else? Expiration and extension of time. We are changing this. We want to change it that a permit is valid from 12 to 24 months and reduce the permit extension allowance to 1. And then anything beyond that would go back to Planning Commission. Currently, things are valid for 12 months. We have to grant an extension for another year. We can grant another one for another year, and then it would go back to PC. So this just gives people additional time.
So does it require anything to get the extension?
Yes, they've got to demonstrate that they are making measurable progress. So what conditions of approval have you completed? Why is it that you're delayed? You're working through the Corps. You're working with engineering on roads. There's things you've got to show and demonstrate that there's reasons why you're doing it, not just because you're trying to time the market.
Okay, thank you.
And then that's it. More questions?
Anybody? This is a public hearing. If there are members of the public who wish to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less, please. Anybody?
Christy Fatwaisi here in Logan. I just have a question. This might not be the right section, but I was trying to figure out where the downtown building regulations, is that part of this one, this group of coding things?
Is that for historical?
Is that the historical?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, never mind that.
that's the next one.
Yeah. Hang on to them for like 30 seconds.
No one's concerned about bees.
I'll bring it back to the council for decision.
I would move acceptance of ordinance 25-17.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move
Thank you,
now
Mike.
to a zone change. Russ, we get to change people. This is fun.
Okay, we finally reached the coolest agenda item of the night.
I know.
Is that what you think? Just wait till you hear my comments now.
Okay, so the historic district was established in 1978. And since 1978, we've conducted 3 recon level surveys. We received a grant to conduct our 4th survey. You're supposed to do these surveys about every 10 or 15 years. We did one in 1978, 1999, and 2011. The district was created in 78, and it has 513 properties and structures in it. The consultant that we chose for the new survey is IO Land Arch, and they followed the guidelines established by the Utah State Historic Preservation Office, or SHPO, and the National Park Service. The 2025 survey, we had enough funding to do some adjacent properties, and that's common. Our other surveys prior surveyed properties outside of the boundary as well. And so we surveyed a total of 790 properties with our funding. And out of that, they found that there's a high concentration of contributing historic structures. And so they thought it was appropriate to propose a boundary expansion. Again, the surveys go over general data like year built, materials, grading, was there historic figures or people that lived on the property. And this is our new survey that provides all of that information. We use these surveys as staff to review historic preservation projects. Also, if folks come in and they want to learn about their property, we'll sit down with them and we'll go over the surveys. So we've done that on occasion, and it's helpful for people to learn and kind of understand their home better. So this particular property is graded as B.
There is no A.
B's as high as you get.
That's right.
Don't ask me why they do it that way, but B is best.
The boldest.
So this grades this home, and this home is a great example of why I think the city adopted a historic district in the first place. These are one-of-one homes. They were built by craftsmen using materials that you just don't see anymore. So that's, I think, why people like preservation. Here's an example of a bungalow, and one of the biggest issues is how do I maintain my property? So if you look closely, there's 2 broken panes in the window, in the roof gable, right there. And
Wow,
so,
what a cool arrow.
yeah, thank you. And so the Secretary of Interior Standards says there's an appropriate way to fix that, and there's an inappropriate way to fix that. So the appropriate way would be to individually fix those panes, keep the frame. The inappropriate way would be rip it out and stick in a vinyl window. The second is going to be cheaper, easier, and that has been the response that we've gotten. So as part of this proposal, we said we need to reach the public and see what they want or what they think about this possible expansion. So we actually mailed a letter to all 790 people. We got about 20 back. There's not a lot of response, but par for the course. Out of the 20, 18 of them do not like the idea to expand. They just simply don't want the idea of more rules. Because it typically means more cost.
Do you have a geographic representation of those 18?
Yeah, most of them are on the west side of Main Street.
Okay.
We received 3 comments that are on the east side of Main Street near the Temple area. 2 of those were neutral and 1 was opposed.
And this was for, you sent letters to everyone in the current district and proposed expansion?
Correct.
Not the current district.
Not the current.
Right.
Okay, just the proposed expansion.
Because I didn't get one.
You just didn't respond.
So that's really the issues are, you have these beautiful structures, you want to preserve them, you want to fix them appropriately, but it usually takes more time and it usually costs more money. And today, when we have housing crisis, when we have affordability on the forefronts of our minds, folks usually just want to fix the issue as quick as possible and as cheap
But the
as possible.
flip side of that, in my opinion, is that you're living in a historic structure. And you're living in a one-of-a-kind house. You're not living in a subdivision. You're living in, this is the, this could be the coolest house on the block. And should you not, there is value to that, in my opinion.
If you can afford to keep it up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It could be the coolest house, or it could be the house with a bunch of broken windows because you can't afford to replace any of them. It is possible. It is possible.
But you could be able to sell it for more money than,
With broken windows?
because it's in a historic district, perhaps.
Okay, I need to make one point
Russ is
very
like,
clear because apparently I was not clear last time. Tax credits are available to sometimes offset those additional costs. Tax credits are issued through the State Historic Preservation Office. But I need to be very clear. The tax credits are only available for properties that are listed on the National Registry,
Which is different than just being
which
in a
is
historic.
different than the local district. So our local district has 518 properties, and in 1978, we submitted a group registry form for all of the properties that were graded. Back then, they had A, but it was graded A or B. It's basically considered contributing to the district or not contributing to the district. And so out of that, 343 were listed on the National Registry. So those are eligible for tax credits through the state program. Since then, we've had 5 individual listings that are outside of the district. So that's the other option. If you're in a historic home and you're not in a local district, you can pursue an individual listing. And that's part of the reason why the survey goes out farther, because one of the requirements for the registry is you have to have a survey done. So now one of these property owners could utilize this 2025 survey and submit an application for National Registry.
So is
Even
it
if the
possible,
district's not approved.
Correct.
so is it possible for us to do another one of those large-scale applications?
Yes, and that is more cost effective. A large scale application is about $15,000 and it can be multiple properties. If you do an individual listing, it's about $3,000 according to SHPO. And so there is some benefits to a mass application.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just to clarify, in 1978 is when you submitted that
Correct.
group application, and 343 properties were added at that time
To the National Registry.
to the National
Correct.
Registry. And only 5 have been added since then?
Individually.
Individually, right.
Yes.
But
We
And
haven't
they had
done
to be
another
in-
mass.
They had to be
Right,
in that
I know.
initial survey too, correct? They had to be.
Well, but we've
within-
redone the survey a few times since then,
Right, but I'm just saying they had to be within the most recent survey.
within the most recent survey, but since 1978, 5 people in Logan City have applied to be interested. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I was reading that.
So do all those properties have like signs on them? Some of them do.
You're not required to have a plaque. Some of them do create the plaque.
Yeah.
So those are fun to read.
I'm just curious.
Most of our properties are residential. We do have about 100 commercial properties. So this is our current boundary and our current zoning. All of the yellow is residential. The pinks are commercial. And that red line is the current boundary. Here's a better map that shows the structures. That's the 500 structures there. This map shows what the consultant surveyed. So that black outer line is the survey boundary. That's the 720 properties. The black and white dots indicate if they're considered eligible or ineligible, and that's the grading again. So the white are either B and above, or black means they're not eligible.
So what are the streets on that? I know it's none of the street
Well, the big
numbers are
thing
on
in the
there.
middle is the
Yeah,
temple.
this is Center Street.
I always have to go-
So this spine right down the middle is Center Street. That is the
Oh,
tabernacle.
that's the temple.
That is the temple.
This is 6 West.
This is Main Street, this here.
400.
So it's 100 north, and then, so the very edge
No,
of
it's
it is at
200.
200 north.
Yeah.
Correct. So City Hall sits right here. We're outside of the district. But across the street at the county courthouse, that's inside the district.
Okay.
And all downtown.
This slide shows the age of buildings. So the red is built between 1859 and 1879. There's 2 red dots, or no, there's about a half dozen red dots there. Orange is between 1880 and 1915, and then the yellow, green, blues get younger and younger.
So it doesn't include, the Whittier's not included in this?
The Whittier is right there.
That's the Whittier, okay.
It is included in what they're
In the
calling their
proposed.
intermediate expansion.
Okay.
Again, this is the map that the consultant recommended that city council review and debate. There's three options. Option one is the green line option, which just simply corrects some problems that have happened over the years. And then blue is the partial expansion, so that would just include the area along the boulevard. And then black would be the full expansion, which would include all of the blue and all of the black. I have coordinated with Teresa beforehand, and I have 3 ordinances prepared based on a motion of green, blue, or black.
We can write it on the fly if you want.
Now, if you try to do some hybrid, then that's.
Green and blue and
You've
half
been
a
to
black?
historic preservation before,
So
haven't you?
historic preservation wanted
Everything.
the full,
Historic preservation voted
and
for the full.
planning voted just for one, correct?
No, for the green.
For
That's what
boundary,
you want.
corrections, yes.
Okay, and they had a motion for 2 that got voted down at the planning commission.
3
Yeah,
to
they
2.
went back and forth. They had 5 members that night, and 2 of them wanted the blue line, but they couldn't get a 3rd vote.
Okay, but so they passed 1 to us.
They
That was their
passed
recommendation
green.
to
Yeah, they
us.
recommended green, which is no expansion.
But lots of discussion around 2, and historic preservation said do 3.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Really quick, the green is just cleaning up. There's a Mill Creek Apartments now, Chuckarama, and then in 78, there were 5 historic homes across the street from the high school. But now that's a parking lot and it's owned by the state, and the state's not subject to local zoning, so it doesn't make sense to keep that in. And then the final is just a property line issue down at the train depot or the Cafe Sabor. And then this might be helpful. So the existing area is the left, and that shows 82% of the structures are contributing. And then the East Temple area, which is that small expansion, has an 85% contributing rate. And
So
then
that's a B rate?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then if you take the whole area, it's at 81%, so just slightly lower than the existing area. They were impressed that we have such a high percentage of contributing structures. Again, here's the map that they proposed, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And we've gotten no real comments on this. I did have
Well,
one
one.
person I had one person contact me who's in the
Western
full
portion.
expansion west that had very strong feelings against it being expanded for the area that she was living in.
Everyone,
Well, I had a gentleman as well, because they want to expand, they want to subdivide their property, and they were concerned that the overlay over
Would not
the
allow.
historic district would not allow them to do that, so. The X overlay, which I forgot we had.
I've talked to multiple people, and none of them want the expansion.
On the west
And
side?
any part of it,
Can I ask a question, Russ?
Yes.
I didn't think about this question. I would have emailed you days ago. Do you have any idea what the percentage of homes are owner occupied in each of these areas?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
And what percent are rentals?
we do have a map.
I'm not sure.
I know we have a map of it. I'm wondering if he's compared and counted.
That's a really good question, yeah.
In general, historic districts do have higher levels of owner occupancy, but it's probably near our 60-40
Sure.
citywide average.
But you haven't looked
It
at
might
it.
be a few percent higher,
You haven't
but
looked
I
at
do
it.
not know
Okay.
for sure.
No, I appreciate that. It's not something that I thought of till this moment, so I don't expect you to sit down and count houses for fun.
So the historic committee,
Like which does.
district committee recommended approval, right? The full
They
expansion.
recommended approval of the full expansion.
What were their main reasons for that?
They love historic preservation.
Yes.
I actually wasn't surprised. They have
No,
some
why
committee
would they-
members
why would
that are
they say
very
no?
passionate, and they understand, or they value historic preservation, like Jeannie mentioned earlier. The 2 committee members that are more, I'll say, practical, weren't there that day, so I was curious how that vote would have broken out, but I still think they would have been in the minority.
And the same thing at planning commission, because some of the strongest voices for historic preservation weren't there at Planning Commission the night they voted.
So here's my heartburn on this. And I talked to Jeannie briefly about this as well. When we do a short-term rental, we notify the people within 300 feet that that's changing, potentially, in their opinion, the character of their neighborhood or what it is. And I would love to see us do recommendation 2, but I have a little bit of heartburn. We sent out the survey, people didn't respond, they may not be paying attention, and all of a sudden tomorrow they could wake up and find out that I know I'm in a historic district, so if I want to make any changes to my house, there's these new rules and regulations that govern me. And so I'm not comfortable because of that. Because I just don't feel like people always pay attention. And I think if it's explained what the value of this potentially is, people might be more on board with it. But if they all of a sudden just hear, by the way, you're now in the historic district, so you can't change your windows, you can't do this, you can't put a solar panel on your roof, you can't do this, that it doesn't feel right to me as a city to make a change that impacts what for many people is their predominant financial investment. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can.
But they sent a letter to everyone
Saying,
in
what
the
do you
district,
think?
correct?
But it didn't say.
Just a first-class letter kind of explaining the pros and cons.
Did it say it was coming to a vote and that this was the process and here's going to be your opportunity to weigh in a public setting? I don't know what their letter looked like.
Yes, so it explained that the overlay boundary was being proposed for expansion. It explained historic preservation in general, and then it kind of listed pros and cons, and then it said, please respond or let us know how you feel.
But it didn't say, they didn't get anything saying, it's coming to historic preservation, it's coming to planning commission, it's coming to council.
It did say historic
It
preservation.
has been noticed with dates.
To those homeowners individually.
Yep.
And there were quite a few that came to the historic preservation meeting and did make comments. Again,
Opposed to it.
Yeah,
opposed, basically.
They're all
But-
opposed.
most of them were on the west side.
So people
You can go
in
first.
that area have personally been notified that this is something that could be happening and would have had the opportunity to come write us, give voice. I just want to make sure of that because
Yes, they have been.
okay.
So if the expansion was approved and I'm a homeowner there and I don't want to be part of the historic district, what are my options?
If the overlay is expanded, then you're in the district whether you like it or not. The reality though is that the standards aren't too burdensome. It's more exterior front facade oriented. You can add on to the rear of your home. You can do anything you want in the interior. But the committee ultimately reviews those facade changes. And based on my experience, the committee is practical, they're understanding. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you want to do it appropriately, it typically takes more time and costs more money because those materials, those elements of that structure are not at Home Depot. They're not readily available. You've got to go out and custom find
You gotta build them.
these things. And so that's the issue.
So when the new house was built across the street from me, it's a brand-new house, but they're in the historic district, so their front windows had to be wood-clad, not vinyl. But the design of them was whatever they wanted them to be. That was the only requirement in terms of windows. So it did cost them a little bit more money, but they could do whatever they wanted on the sides and the back of the house. It was only the front facade.
So there is no process.
You can't get out of
Process?
to
You
remove the home
cannot
from the.
get out of the district or you cannot request a variance of some sort.
A homeowner could request a rezone to rezone them out. You could apply for an individual rezone.
Just like these green areas.
Or
And the planning commission would probably say, we don't like spot zoning.
yeah, I mean, you have to review it on its own merits. If the entire block came to us with a rezone application to take us out of it, and that probably speaks louder, but
Good luck getting a whole block to.
So I know at one
Agree on
point,
it.
I think like originally, 8 years ago, I was on the historic preservation, and there was discussion about like paint colors that are allowed and not allowed. Is that was not put through, or is that?
So generally, we don't get into color except for there's some like metallic and neon paints that are considered inappropriate, but we don't get into color generally speaking.
Okay.
So if I can,
It's not like Williamsburg.
Well, but because I remember someone coming because they had done a renovation that was not permitted. So what happens if I just go ahead and put up whatever I want on my house when I'm in the historic district, and I'm in violation of,
Well, theoretically.
like I put vinyl windows up, does the city come back and say, you got to take those out and put in historic ones? What's the consequence of violating the parameters of the?
It's the same process as any other zoning in violation. It's complaint based, so if we receive a complaint, we'll go out and inspect and see if there's actually a violation there. And then we have a process to get them into compliance.
But if you have to get a building permit to do something like that, that process triggers.
Building permits are flagged automatically if you're in the district. A lot of the stuff is reviewed staff level. It doesn't have to go to HPC. But again, if it's like a front facade, you're changing your porch, or, then it goes before the committee. And so this is a public hearing, just to make sure that we give the public.
I know, I will.
Okay.
I'm just letting everybody talk.
Yep, I just figured I wanted to share my thoughts on it. I will preface this by saying I love historic homes, and it's one of those things that I love to go look at when we're in different cities and different towns. But I do think I know it's brought to us now because we did the survey, right? But I also personally feel like we might sit up here and say, oh, well, it costs a little bit extra to do different windows or different paints or different treatments. But we're also in a pretty rough economy and housing affordability crisis is the perspective that I have and that I hear from many other people all the time. And I think my perspective is I'm pretty hesitant to add the extra restrictions right now. And that's not to say that we couldn't review it in 3 or 5 years and see if things have stabilized and changed. But I think this is not something, we can always look at it again in the future, right? But I am quite hesitant, especially on recommendation 3, the full expansion, when we're doing so much to try to help housing affordability, that then to look at hundreds of homes and say, and all your renovations just got 5% more expensive. Or
It's not 5%.
Well, I'm being generous, but like,
No,
right, like,
you're being very conservative, because I've gone through the process, and it's not 5%.
and it depends on what they're doing, right? Like it might be for paint or for a door or whatever.
Try
But
25 to 40%.
But I guess my heartburn is now the right time to do this? And it's not that I'm saying that we shouldn't honor and preserve our historic homes, or that we should bulldoze them or paint them pink. It's,
Mine was pink.
well, glad you repainted it.
I like pink. Pink is good.
Is now the right time to increase housing costs on a significant portion of our downtown area, which truthfully, a lot of these homes are probably some of your more affordable homes in our city and are going to be more affordable than new builds. But when you want to move in, you might want to repaint your window or put in a new door eventually. And I don't know, is now the right time? I'll shut up. I'm rambling.
Go ahead, Ernesto.
Anybody else have any comments before I open it?
Ernesto.
From those that came back to you with, after you reached out to them, any idea where geographically they are at?
Yeah, like I said, about 18 of them were over in this black area line. And
all opposed.
And then I think 3 were up in the blue line area.
And 2 were neutral and 1 was opposed in the blue.
2 were opposed.
In
1
the
was
blue,
neutral.
2 were neutral and 1 was
2
opposed.
were neutral, okay.
Yeah.
Was opposed.
And then
Anything-
public comments in the meetings followed that same trend, about 80-90% opposed, 10% approved.
Any other comments? This is a public hearing. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
Christy Patracy, in Logan. And I have to say, I have just about had a panic attack because I thought my house was going to be on that expansion map. Because if I wanted to be in the HOA, I would have been in the HOA. And if I found out tomorrow morning that you guys signed me up for an HOA, yeah, I don't think that's something this big. I don't think a letter is an appropriate way of getting a response. I think door to door, talking to each household and getting their yay or nay is the only way to do something this big when you are requiring them to have very expensive limitations put on what they can do on their house. My house is built in 1894. I haven't fixed a lot of things on it because I can't afford it. Just basics. My parents redid the windows forever ago. They need to be done again. The roof needs to be done. The wiring needs, and that's just by modern standards. If I needed to do that with lath and plaster and wood windows and everything, I would let my house fall down around me. And
Well, we did say it's not interior.
No, I know, but even exterior, it's brick, and trying to find somebody that can build the bricks that were in my house, it's extremely expensive because I have looked into that already. And so, anyway, I'm just saying, I do not think that you guys should be expanding this without a 100% door-to-door yay or nay from each person, because a letter is just not enough. You get a letter in the mail, I got one, I'd be like, if I got one, I'd be like, what do I do with this, And so no, I think if you're telling people that or putting people into an HOA, a historic HOA, then they need to be notified in person and get their yay or nay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
Josh Baller from Logan. I actually was thinking the same thing that she was. There has to be at least a second letter to go out. Preserving Logan, I'm all for it. And a lot of these old homes, I've actually done quite a bit of work in restoration. And it'd be great to see Logan, preserved, but residents do have to have more notice than just their first paper, and at least a second notice by mail. If not, a letter actually rubber band to their doorknob. So, because it can cause a lot of problems. Restoration is expensive.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Linda Johnson, and I live in Logan in the Wilson neighborhood, so this does not affect me. And, I guess it does. I actually work at the school district building, which is in this, and I'm really grateful that it was restored, and there are some other beautiful restorations done. And I'm appreciative that there is a historic district, but I also am totally in line with the cost of things and the increase of cost of things, and the fact that not everyone wants to buy into it, and not every structure in this area, as witnessed by those beautiful pie charts that showed about 80% are contributing to the look and feel of Logan in some way. I'm wondering if there is any way that people inside these areas could be noted as not a full historic district, but that people within it, if they want to, can apply for it, or that there may be some sort of partial recommendation. I think the picture that the house with the gables that was gone back to once, it looked like it had newer windows that are vinyl windows.
Which one?
In it and such. Oh, not that one. But that one obviously needed the windows. Oh, that one is beautiful.
Which one?
Beautiful house.
You mean
but
Bruce Crane's house is, it's wood.
That
it's
one
all-
right there
It's all
has-
wood windows.
It's all wood.
They're all wood.
These ones are wood windows?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
They're just nicely painted.
I love that house too.
It's beautiful.
It's Bruce Crane's
my
house.
favorite
Oh,
And I know.
this one?
Yeah.
Bruce bought it out from under me.
But I love the gabling and things like that. However, I feel like you can get a look similar with things like vinyl windows and such that, I'm just saying to help bring the cost down, but that if people wanted to make any measurable change to the house, like if they're like, oh, I hate the gables, I want to add a big porch and I want to add this and that and the other, then that might have to go through a further process that it might just be flagged by the building commission and they could work with the people on that. And then I'm curious, when people are in this, it showed that there was the national registry that you can get a tax benefit back. And is there money that Logan City sets aside to help people in the district with these extra costs, or just extra requirements? So it really is like an HOA fee that people have to pay, and Logan offers no help whatsoever. So that makes it that unless you really love these buildings, it is hard to incentivize people to want to do that, because you're basically just putting all these extra requirements on them. Which is where I'm thinking, if people want that, if your house is or business is going to be graded at a B so that it is contributing, that maybe there are just those capital projects required, but other things are allowed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brenda?
So I'm Hiram Martin from Logan and the Adams District. So you guys have talked a lot about the second and third, but you guys haven't really talked much about the corrections. How do you guys feel about the corrections to the historic code?
The correction?
Yeah.
Recommendation one.
Recommendation
Yeah, the
one.
recommendation
Yeah,
for
the boundary corrections. Yep.
Madam Chair, may I respond to him?
Yes.
I don't have any problem with them because they're just aligning with property lines or removing areas that there's no longer historic houses on, so.
So you would approve?
Sure,
Agree.
yep, it's a pretty minor change that I don't see, it's kind of procedural and administrative in my opinion, and it works.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, my name is Jaron Murray. I live in Logan. A couple things I want to bring up. One, putting a home in a historical district doesn't save the home. The property owner can still demolish it. It just limits what they can build there. It still has to have that same look and stuff, so increase those costs. I'm opposed to it because of the increased housing costs and increased maintenance costs and more government control over private property. I do think you could do the National Historic Registry, which would give those who do want to renovate their homes the access to tax credits, but that's a completely different process, and the line doesn't even have to follow a local historic district. It does not. They're completely different things. And so those that did want to renovate their homes and do it could have access to that tax credit if you went through that completely separate process. So thanks.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
No, I'm from Anchorage, but I have
Tell me your
family
name,
here.
please. Please.
Sorry, Oliver
Oliver,
Hargraves.
thank you.
Yes. I don't live here anymore. I have family that owns property here, and they still live here. And I find this is an extremely coarse tool, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to include all of these other houses who are total new builds, or maybe are old houses with renovated parts, and now all of a sudden they can't make their changes anymore, and they were forced to do that in a more expensive way. But truthfully, that's not what I'm most concerned about, because I think there is other ways to get that funded. But mostly, I think it's just inappropriate to include houses that are not necessarily historical just because they are neighboring historical houses. So, and it also seems like it's just a bit rushed, and I certainly agree with one letter not being enough. So that's gonna be several letters, maybe a phone call, door to door seems very appropriate. And, yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Oliver. And Anchorage is beautiful.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council.
So Russ, I have a question. I know when we were doing our center block project and some of those buildings were in the historic district and were historic, removing them involved a decision of the Historic Preservation Committee. Would that apply then here, that if the whole district, if I own a home and it's in mass disrepair, I have to get permission to remove it?
Yeah, so correct. When you have a B-graded building, you need to go through the committee before demolition. They cannot prevent demolition. They may require some pictures or documentation done. But yes, the city went through this exact process for the Center Block Plaza. And part of that was the retention of one of the B-graded buildings. And so we remodeled that 41 building based on the HPC recommendations, and then demolished, what was it, 3 or 4 of those to create that plaza space.
So if
Yes, they can slow it, but they can't
if it's
stop.
B, it's one issue, if it's C, it's not an issue? Just help me understand how.
Yeah, if it's not contributing, you don't have to go before the committee. You still have to get a demolition permit and do the
Right.
appropriate process there,
But even if the Historic Preservation Committee said you shouldn't take it down because it's contributory, you still have that right as a property owner?
Part of the HPC's job is to convince them not to demolish it. So yeah, they try to talk them out of it. No, don't do it. And see if there's ways that you can renovate that or remodel it, still accomplish what you want to accomplish, but.
So when the demolition permit is requested, that's what would trigger the discussion with
Yes.
HPC?
Yes.
If it's in the district?
And it's a B grade.
And it's a B grade, okay, thank you.
So I'm the only one here that lives in the historic district right now.
But I do own property in the historic district, and we played that game before too, so.
And, but I have not found it to be onerous with respect to my house. But I have not, I mean, if I were to change the front door, I would want it to be the same because of the way the house looks. I have, I've redone all the interior, but I haven't changed, I mean, I don't tend to change it much, I just upgraded it. I've upgraded all the wiring, but that was all done, I mean, I don't know, I have not felt it to be an onerous burden. I've felt it to be more a, isn't it cool I live in the historic district? Sorry.
And I will say that my wife and I have talked numerous times about how we would love to live in a historic district and historic home. I will also counter my own thought of, I think all of us up here probably make more than the median income of Logan. And are probably not struggling to pay and repair our houses as much as a lot of people in Logan are. I could be wrong. I'm making assumptions about those sitting around me and in the city, but I think the cost very much concerns me, and I don't feel like it has to be done right now. I think we can review it in 5 years, right? Like, will the market and environment be different in the future? Probably. And will this be a good move in the future? Possibly.
Well,
I
think
hesitate with right now.
I think that we paid for a survey.
We did.
The survey gave us recommendations. We either need to say yes or no to those recommendations.
Sure.
Or
But I'm
half yes
assuming we
or
could
half
say,
no.
we approve recommendation 1, and we'd like to review this in 5 years. And staff would come back in 5 years or 10 years and say, let's review this again.
Put it in your.
Because I just told Mike to come back in 6 months with something, and he said, yes, sir. He gave me a thumbs up. They're pretty good at it. I'm actually surprised at how good they are at bringing back things so efficiently. They have better calendars than I do, I guess.
Okay,
I don't know.
let me share a story with you. So in 2017, we had a vehicle that drove through the front part of our store and demolished our front entrance. So, having been through Historic Preservation Committee multiple times in the past, we took 3 plans to them that were all historical. First plan, $30,000. Second plan, $40,000. First plan was what we wanted to do. Second plan was what we were okay with doing. Third plan was $60,000, and that's the one that we knew Historic Preservation would accept. Guess which plan was accepted?
60.
The 60,000. All 3 of them were historically appropriate, but we paid double to get it done. I'm not complaining about it because I really love it, but it was really expensive.
But to a lot of people, that is a harder
That
lift
is
than
a
it is
lot.
to other people.
It was what we knew would get approved, and we had to get it approved the first time we went to Historic Preservation because we didn't have a front entrance for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait for them to go, oh, we kind of think this will be okay.
I remember all your plywood. It looked great.
Oh, I remember the metal on the front of the
It was
building.
a difficult process, but we knew exactly what we needed to do to get it done because that's what we had to do. So, that being said,
That was an expensive car run-in.
that was expensive, and guess
person.
what? They didn't have insurance.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So guess who got to pay for that one? Yeah. So my motion is that we accept option 1 with the boundary corrections.
I will second that.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would so love recommendation 2, but I appreciate all
Can
of the comments. And as I started,
I love historic
I know,
buildings,
as I
but-
started, I
yeah.
just feel like a big part of that to me is if I'm in that district, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and find out that now I'm all of a sudden,
Yep.
I know we sent a letter and I know people will give an opportunity, but, and I kind of like your comment about where is it rental versus owner occupied, because I think you have a strong interest because you bought a historic home because you love it. If people bought a historic home to rent it, I think that there are differences on saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal, is going to be a little bit different, so.
And more than likely, that cost would be passed on to the renter if they had to renovate it. It's an investment, they're not going to lose money.
So I have a question.
Can I make a comment real quick? Sorry, I had my hand up when he was talking, not to interrupt the chair. Can we put,
Go for it.
how do we put in here that we want to look at it in 5 years? Does that need to be part of the motion? I would like to see this come back, because I do feel like it has value.
If you're
I just-
reelected in 5 years, you can always ask
You can
them
always
to.
ask.
I don't have as good
come
of
back.
memory as Mike and Russ, apparently. I would like to see it come back, because I do think it has value.
So is
I
there,
just, right now.
is there value? Let me finish.
Okay, finish. I was trying to finish too, though.
You finished 4
We're not
times.
going to make any of the jokes that are going through my head right now.
So Amy's concern, I am in favor of 2 as well, but I also share Amy's concern that the people would wake up tomorrow. Is there a way to approve 1 and do something with that area of 2 to be brought back to us in a month or whatever?
I would love that.
I'm just asking that question. I know there is a motion and a second on the
I
table.
would,
a fair question.
I just, even with the expansion too, I feel that it's not the appropriate time, and I don't think a month makes a difference.
But
from
what
my
if the
perspective.
neighborhood said?
What if the
we
neighborhood
love
said
this?
yes?
Yeah, I was
That's the thing,
actually,
is that's talking to the neighborhood. and
Sure. Are you going to go out and knock on every door?
I would be actually
'Cause I-
volunteer to do that.
so my question is, what is the process if somebody found out tomorrow, like, oh, I was gonna be part of it, but now I'm not gonna be part of it? Is there any process for
They
somebody
can go in on
to,
the National Registry.
Yeah, they can
but
pay.
on the local one, not on the national one? Is there a process for them to become part of the historic district?
The local district is a zoning decision done by U5.
Can I tack a question onto that? Maybe this.
They could still apply
So
for
they could
still apply for the
apply for a
national.
rezone,
Yeah.
is what you're
They
saying?
could submit a rezone tomorrow.
Okay. We
Can I
have
ask a question to Russ really quick, since I was starting to ask? What benefits is this zoning going to give that the National Historic Registry does not?
I think it's the preservation of the character of Logan, which we continually hear from people.
Right.
We're changing
But
the
if
character
anyone in this entire black box could apply for the National Historic Registry.
for $3,000.
Sure, but if they apply versus if we put them in the district and then they apply, what difference is there in benefit to them being in
Well,
the district and
Because
registry
if they're in
versus just?
if they're in the district and they do a mass application,
Sure.
then it's
I feel like that's a different, sorry Russ, is there a benefit to being in the zone versus the district?
So the tax credits are not available locally.
Right.
The city does have facade grants available once in a while. We've financed those on occasion.
Okay.
You can say you're in the Logan City Center Street Historic District.
Okay.
So there's those things. The rules are pretty much the same. Like I said, they're all based on the Secretary of Interior standards.
Because I understand the benefit to the community to having the district, but if we postpone this 5 years, I was wondering what the benefit of district versus if someone wants to go register nationally, if they wake up tomorrow and are like, dang it, that they can go register, add an expense.
And then just a quick comment on the noticing. So we do the standard noticing for rezones. There's an article in the newspaper. We post to the websites. We post it in the public area. So that was done as well.
Oh, I know.
Okay, I just want to make sure that
I know. It's just, we frequently hear from people that they don't see that, they don't check our website, they don't see it, they're not on social media, whatever, those methodologies.
I don't open my
There's a
mail.
lot of people who don't get the advantage of that.
I'll come knock doors with you anytime you'd like.
So
100%.
perhaps what we need to do is
Vote on the motion.
either vote on the motion or change the motion, however you want to do it.
Well, the motion's been moved and seconded, and
I'm not going to change
I
it.
have no intention of amending the motion as moved.
Well, you can't amend it by yourself.
Well, I can make an amendment and then
I
you
said
can agree with
I'm not
it.
changing it.
What I'm saying is neither of us are.
So Jeannie, I'm hearing your preference would be to approve recommendation 1 with something that indicates pursuing more community input into recommendation 2.
That would be my preference. But we have a motion and a second on the floor, so we will vote. All those in favor of the
Resolution, ordinance 2518.
2518
recommendation.
recommendation 1, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries 3-2.
I would like to look at it again in the future, Mike and Russ. Do you have a 5-year memory or a 3-year memory?
I have a 5-minute memory.
That's
The
me.
goldfish.
That's me. I will tell you, I have a bunch of goldfish. They recognize me and not my wife. Their memory is better than it is advertised.
Okay, we're going to move now to our public
I hear
hearing,
that.
which is a code amendment. Russ?
Okay, this is the Cache Valley Marketplace PDO amendment. So this is the Target project at the old Cache Valley Mall. They originally came in and they wanted to do a Target, a hotel, and about 500 apartments. The change they're requesting is
And 25,000, how many thousand square feet of small retail under the hotel?
Let's jump to, oh crap, what happened? I should eat that sandwich. Sorry. Let me jump to those numbers really quick.
Because it wasn't just the hotel, it was hotel
Yeah.
and,
It was 21,000 square feet of retail and a 156-room hotel. They're requesting a change to 62,000 square feet of retail in what I'm calling a mid-box. So that is something like this.
tenant, blank space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Looks like
top
that's
plan is what was approved originally. This L shape was the hotel and 21,000 square feet. This is what they're proposing here is a single story, 62,000 square foot mid-box. It could be divided into 2 or 3 depending on their tenant.
Can I
It
go
really
back?
changes
And
the
this-
character.
This multifamily changes, so the number of units is reduced a little bit. This
How many
L-shaped
units are we
building.
reducing?
weren't looking at anything.
So that number goes from 346 residential units to 312 residential units.
30.
4.
So it's 40,000 feet of
That's
commercial
why you math like a
added
rich.
in place of hotel and the loss of units.
Well, and it changes the whole character of that side of that. I mean, the character is way different
It looks like
now.
a strip mall.
Yeah, it looks a lot more like a strip mall
It's just a strip mall.
instead of looking like
Something slightly unique.
So
Yeah.
when
Planning Commission.
didn't they do some things on
Planning
the-
Commission reviewed the design and added architectural elements on this facade, which faces Cache Valley Boulevard and Home Depot, as well as some additional facade elements for this middle blank area, which could either be a new storefront or the addition of some other elements like trellises or spandrel glass.
I sort of just don't like the fact that it's this great big blob.
Well, welcome to America.
So what,
We
do you
paint a
have
lot
a
of
schematic
stress.
of what those requirements were on the street side? Like,
Sorry, I was catching some crossfire there. What was that question?
so
No, it's fine.
what does the facade on Cache Valley Boulevard, what were those requirements that the planning commission put in?
So it was additional architectural elements in these blank spaces between the columns, and it was an option of several things, whether it's trellising or different materials, colors, just to give that wall some more architectural interest.
So trellising like is on Costco or Al's,
Correct.
where you have to water the plants to make sure that they grow.
Can you go back?
They do have a planter area in front of this. Go back to
South-facing
So-
concrete.
Were there, they've added additional parking, angled parking along the interior street, right?
Because it was originally hotel drop-off entrance.
So this interior area, it's actually a public easement, is unchanged. This angled parking was part of the original.
No, they changed it.
Not for the hotel.
Entrance here.
Oh, yeah, the
Just still have
hotel had a canopy or a marquee entrance, that changes.
And it's all
But did
parking now.
that, I mean, we also talked about the bus going through there and the bus being able to have a place to stop.
The bus does not go through the block. The bus has a stop on Main Street and a stop on Second East. and the
That's
condition-
today.
True.
It was discussed. I remember
The condition
discussed.
on the original approval was pedestrian enhancements to get back and forth to those bus stops. And so that's why this kind of public easement was created, and there's sidewalks along it. It's street-like. It's not a street, but
Through a parking
it's a little bit similar to Center Street.
If it was
Wow.
worse than everyone.
So that's what they're proposing. The multifamily design remains the same, they've just changed the unit count.
Is it possible to take out some of that parking that is,
Where are
In
they
the
at
middle?
on parking percentage?
yeah, I mean, their parking percentage is high.
I mean, it's half parking.
When I reviewed their parking, they're just a little bit over, they're not as high as you would think. The mid-box has a pretty high parking ratio.
But I mean, it would be nice to have a space in there between those two big buildings that wasn't just all parking.
I mean, that's the
This
point where
area right here is going to be a raised crosswalk, so one of those big humps, so you can easily walk across right there. I'm not sure if there's what the landscaping is in here, but yeah, it's wide sidewalks.
It doesn't look like landscaping at all. It looks like parking lot and sidewalk,
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
not a tree to be found.
Rich, revenue generation wise, hotel versus commercial. Ballpark it
Commercial will generate
more.
property tax and sales tax, whereas the hotel would be property tax only.
And
That
hotel tax
makes my
comes back as-
decision really easy.
Hotel tax is pretty small.
then it comes back if the county lets us have it.
And I agree with you, Mark, but it was much better before.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So the green
But if they can't,
space-
if they can't.
Planning
make it
Commission
work.
didn't add any additional green space requirements with this.
But I also,
The landscaping requirements remain the same as the original. So they have an overall project requirement that they're going to meet.
Okay, okay.
I feel like ideally, at one point, it was, some apartments with some small businesses, spots on the main floor in a hotel, and there was a little more green space and a little less parking, and it felt like we were trying a little more. And now it feels like apartments behind Home Depot or behind PetSmart. Like, that's what it feels like now, right? Like, and sure, we might make more tax revenue on the.
Yeah, because now it's a single-story box.
Yeah, well, and now you're just like, apartments behind.
I liked the
A strip mall.
I liked the hotel too. I thought it was great.
Yeah, but we can tell them to keep looking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there were a way that they could do apartments on top of, so you'd have the same visual height
That would be cool.
on top of the big box.
You've got like not natural grocers, but you've got like Whole Foods that does apartments on top of the Whole Foods, and they're actually really nice.
I mean, even Lee's has one
really
downtown Salt
nice.
Lake
Yeah,
like that.
like really nice.
Yeah.
The applicant Brady Morris is in the audience tonight. Do you have questions for him? He's made the journey
Yay,
up
come
from
on.
Salt Lake.
Yeah, come on up.
Come on up.
We sound so enthusiastic.
Come on.
Sorry.
down.
We're not very excited about a box.
I know, I understand based on what I'm hearing. So Brady Morris, I work with Ensign Engineering, representing the developer with Sonia Development. They're the overall developer of the project. I know that they have tried for a while to get a hotel tenant to come in and have been unsuccessful to do that. I know that they've worked with half a dozen different hotel people trying to get them to come in and couldn't make it pencil financially. So
It's all about penciling.
Yeah.
It's all about penciling.
Right. I
And
mean,
now it became a verb.
Finance people.
so this is what they're currently proposing. At this point, they don't have any tenants that they have locked down for the use of these buildings, but this is what they feel like is the most the best option for them as far as use and leasing. You did mention a concern about landscaping. There is a setback requirement that Target has. If you look at the overall site plan, the south side of the Target building, it pushes that first building, of the two buildings, the smaller of the two buildings, it pushes that back about 15 feet behind the sidewalk as a setback requirement from Target that allows 15 feet of landscaping. It doesn't show any landscaping there, of course, now, but it does leave 15 feet for landscaping there.
Did they ever consider doing a mixed-use building with commercial and residential on the top?
Well, I mean, that was what was originally proposed, of course, was ground level retail with the hotel up above, and that was really the hard sell for hotel users, is that they just want to come in as hotel users or retail users, and it's really hard to mix them together.
But I'm saying if that was apartments versus hotel, which
Yeah.
is did they ever consider
A true
that?
mixed use, so that you would have your big box on the bottom, but you'd
I
have
don't know
apartments on the
answer.
top.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Because that would give a little better scale to the, it would have more of the original scale that the project was approved as.
I have to say, in my experience as being an engineer, even in the Salt Lake area, outside of the Salt Lake City itself, that has been a really hard sell. It's not been very successful because of the non-suburban feel. The idea is that you live in an area where you walk everywhere, and it's just not set up that way. People want their cars, and
Well, I'm not suggesting we take away cars. I'm just suggesting that we add apartments.
Right, but that's where those mixed-use projects are most successful, is where people do not have cars.
Because if you look at, I don't know, I just think it would be better than building another separate apartment building.
Well, then you could get more parking in.
And then you'd have more green space. Which would be really nice. And see, that's the problem with this process. We get to like pretend we know what we're doing. I don't know, I'm disappointed in the box. I think it takes away from the project itself. I think it had a really nice look to it before.
And I understand it if the other one's not working, but it just feels like the easy solution, right? Like, which I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. I own a business, like I understand, like, but it just feels like the tried true.
It's been
nothing unique about it.
It's been two and a half years since they got their initial approval, and I know that they've been trying to find individuals or leasees for the spaces, and just it's been a struggle for them, and so they felt like this was their best option.
So we have to, so the original PUD, that's what we're modifying, correct?
That is the request, to change the code to reflect this project rather than the other. Because it's a PD, that's why it's here at City Council. If this were just flat commercial zoning, it would just go through Planning Commission and Design Review, because commercial zoning allows the mid-box and doesn't require the mixed use.
Is that why staff recommended the approval?
There were a number of different reasons, but that's one of them, yeah.
You can share more if you want.
Well, I think it, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Speaking bluntly, I think it's one of these things where it's, I guess my perspective is, it's just kind of disappointing, it's kind of unfortunate, but also at the same time, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, tell you to keep trying with a hotel for 10 more years? If it's not working, it's not working, right? Like, I guess it's one of those like hard parts being on the council, in my opinion, where like you have like this, you can see something so much better, but you also can't fight against the currents of like, if this is what business owners and this is what developers and if this is like to some extent like this is what people use in Utah and Western US, right? Like we don't have a walkable downtown or even block area.
I have to say I have seen half a dozen layouts, proposed layouts of what they could use the space for, what they tried to bring market to tenants, and this is where they landed.
Right. And if
And
no
then they
one's
still
gonna,
don't have a tenant. You
They
just said.
have some potential tenants, I would say.
but this is what people are used to signing lease agreements for and using and visiting and shopping at. And
But we
I would like to
we do a PUD and then it comes back and it's.
right. I would like to see something better, but I also, to some extent, feel like what am I supposed to do? Tell them to get stuffed and go find a hotel? Like, if it's not working, it's not working. But my biggest heartbreak is, like, it was something kind of unique. And there's 300 people that are, 900 people that can live behind it. And really now they're going to live behind Target, like, instead of in a more unique thing. And I don't mean to like tear it apart. It's just a lot. I find it a little heartbreaking, truthfully. But I also don't know what my solution is.
It was originally commercial. It's still commercial. That has not changed.
No, it hasn't, but it was a little better. You have to admit that.
I loved the hotel.
Right.
It's just like I love the condos at Willow Lakes, but we're not getting those either. So it's just like
There are a lot of options though on the mid-box and the lease options for the space. You could have a gym or a small grocer. Sure. I mean, it could not be something like a typical mid-box fill either.
Yeah,
but there's the challenge.
I just guess I wish that if you're going to do that much mass, it still looked like the other picture. It had more height, which would mean putting the apartments on top.
Do we want to do the public hearing?
Yep, we can do
I mean,
the
we can
public
sit up here
hearing.
and bemoan it more if you want.
I want to hear what people have to say before we continue.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you for
this is
coming
a
up.
public hearing. If you would like to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
My name's Christy Fatwesi. Again, this is the original, correct?
Yep.
That This is what it was supposed to be?
Yep.
Okay. So, from what I'm hearing, and the numbers I was looking at, it went from 350 down to 312 as far as housing units, apartment units. If I like added up that, not this one, but there was another one that had the numbers and I was adding those up. So anyway, around 50 apartments that are, or housing units that are not going to be there now, which is kind
34.
of the whole reason this thing was like to give additional housing, and that's 50 families that aren't gonna have someplace now. And if you build a hotel, if you don't have a unit or a tenant for the hotel, then it's already housing, and you can switch that into housing. And if you have a box store and you don't have a tenant, then it's a box store and it's taking up space and you can't really use it for anything. So I don't know, I mean, but the whole thing was sold right now. It looks like, I mean, the way they want to do it right now with the two stores right together, it's the mall. Why did you tear down the mall? It's gonna look exactly like the mall again. So I don't know. I'm more of I'm a proponent of providing housing or optional housing. I like the idea of building apartments on top of something if they have to put a mid-size and put more apartments there. I mean, 50 units is a lot of units to be like, to cutting out when that was the agreed upon thing and the original design. And I get that some things change, but, and then the 62,000 square feet in one store instead of multiple small stores, like the small stores that were in the mall that could use space to open their stores again maybe when they got kicked out. I don't know, it just seems like a cop out and a sellout, so that's my, but I think there's things that could be done rather than that, and especially where they don't have a tenant for either building. I would rather go with the hotel and convert it to apartments if you don't find a tenant than have a big box store that will only serve another big company and not small retailers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
Hi, Matthew Potawasi. Sorry, I had to run back here for that, since we're in walking distance and everything. So, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but my brother lost his job because of this development plan. He used to work inside of the mall and everything, and so they let him go. There's a situation with those kinds of jobs where they have no compete clauses inside of that, something that we still haven't seen any, business owners getting on the side of the workers saying that's inconceivable and improper for you to do. So he doesn't have that job that used to be there at this location. So, he's just like, oh, well, at least they're getting some living residences in there. So I sent him, this agenda item. He's just like, OMFG. I won't say that since Jeannie Simmons might kick me off here. They're ditching the hotel for some retail space and cutting the units they're building. God, I hate that company. By the way, what company is with Sonia? They have a history, a track record of doing this exact same thing, of skimping on promises that they made, just with promises that they made to get their foot barely in the door, that 60,000 one where they like, okay, here's all the ways I know how to meet these requirements and everything like that, but I would prefer not to have to meet these requirements if I had to. And these are serious requirements that we want because they're living dwellings for people inside of this valley where we're suffering from huge exploitation of prices by short-term rentals and everything like that. This is more of that, where big people that confront the cost of building these aren't being held to account to do this and build it to completion, if not doubling up on it when they come back and be like, oh, things have changed, and you're like, yeah, things have changed. We're actually gonna have to ask more of you in this situation because things have changed. Ballot boxes are less effective now because, or not ballot boxes, but mail-in ballots and everything. Like, things are changing. This is them wanting to stay the usual course. Don't let them, please. Either stay this previous plan, ask them what their previous plans were, have them on file so that you can show them like other people. You're a fan of Target, so I don't know if this is the inevitability, see if you can find out an alternative to Target, since Target isn't necessarily the best market in the first place either. I don't know. Again, this is just what I was saying earlier. Realtors and private equity and real estate development are playing you for pawns, us for fools, for electing you, their pawns, into seats, and then not doing any critical thought to help us make up for the time that we're doing working at these companies that just want us to live on the exact same plot of land where these small little box stores are going to be put up and everything like that, while they own all that stuff, not the people owning the houses that they're staying in or the rentals being owned by the people. No rent to own. None of the businesses are going to be owned by the buildings are going to be owned by the business owners. It's going to be Woodsonia real estate, which doesn't even exist inside a state. So they're dealing with all these out-of-state interactions too that add in a whole bunch of overhead as well. We can do better. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks, Matt.
And President Waller from Logan. I don't know if this is my favorite project or Willow Lakes is my favorite project.
That's
Both of them
your
are right
favorite
up there.
project right there.
Yeah, let's stick it to the people.
Do you own the property?
Traffic is already going to be an insane nightmare on Second. It's going to be ridiculous on 14th. Yet people aren't even going to be able to get onto Main Street and head south. There's just no way. They're not going to be able to go west on 14th. There were no impact reports to traffic and how this was going to be done. Lessening apartments, we're losing, what, about 30 apartments, right around there? Yeah, big deal with traffic. No, if they're gonna go full force, keep it the same, because if they can't get a big, motel chain to come in and do that, then they can convert it to apartments. We're already screwed when it comes to the traffic that's going through there. I travel on 2nd North or 2nd East almost daily going to Home Depot. It is a goddamn nightmare. To hell with Woodsonia, to hell with, with this project altogether. If we cared about the small businesses in this city, in the first place, we never would have gotten rid of the lowest, the cheapest place to go be able to rent a commercial space. But we didn't care about that. They were literally one of the cheapest places. The mall was literally one of the cheapest places. But nobody cared about that. I mean, this is ridiculous. To hell with Woodsonia. Make them stay the course. So, thanks.
Thanks,
Pretty obvious.
Every time this comes up, I'm furious about it. This is going to be one of the, this will be number one with the worst projects that Logan has done. So,
thanks, Josh.
Comments change everything.
I'm Linda Johnson, and I live in Logan, and I really appreciate what both Jeannie and Mike were saying. I could tell that you guys felt that there was a little bit of a loss of soul in this project, and that you guys genuinely care about how this looks, and that it is an additive to Logan rather than just another parking lot filled with big box nothingness. Soulless, like you see them everywhere as you drive along I-15 or 89 or really any major road, and is this turning into another major road in Utah that is just going to look like every other shopping district, or is this something that is going to be a credit to Logan? And in North Logan, there is a similar to what you were talking about, Jeannie, with the retail below that is along 2nd East, north of the Walmart several blocks.
They're called live work spaces.
And I don't know if you guys have then done a study seeing what is the rate of turnover on the businesses in that area. I mean, I know a lot of people live in those apartments and they don't seem to have a problem with it. And honestly, this is a more prime location for people who are students or who don't make a lot of money, because then if they can't afford the real costs of a vehicle, they now are within blocks of almost all major retail needs. There's food nearby, grocery stores, things like that, which I think would benefit that. So I really think that is something that, while you see it most successfully in downtown Salt Lake, this is still a major hub of Logan, and I do think those extra units would be beneficial. Also, if hotels aren't willing to come to Logan, I think Logan City Council should really examine why that is, that we can't draw event spaces or other businesses seeing Logan as a viable location for their business. That is concerning, that they've gone through so many potential people who all turned them down. What is it about Logan that this is not seen as profitable for them? What can we do to help draw that in? So I like what you said, Jeannie, about making sure there are green spaces. I would make sure the facades are varied and warm feeling, rather than the mock-ups which look really cold, like the ones that they put in that are largely black and white, that really modern feel. I feel like Logan City's heart should be a bit historical, with either the red brick, the warm tones. I love seeing that and would love to see some character added into this project that will be a credit to Logan, rather than something we tear down in 50 more years, like the mall ended up being just torn down as not valuable.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll bring it back.
Before Mark makes a motion. Well, I guess I'll start talking, even though my thoughts aren't
for it.
I just don't like it.
perfectly formulated. I feel like...
Nobody likes it.
I feel like, okay, hear me out, Mark. We made the PDO for this development originally.
We did.
We made the process.
Yeah, the process, right. But like PDOs exist for this. I wasn't on the council. I was campaigning at the time and came to way too many fetching meetings. Watching you guys go back and forth with them over this. Going, really, Mike? This is what you want to do with your Tuesday nights.
Exactly.
Right? And yeah, it was commercial before, and yeah, this is still commercial.
But it was reasonable looking commercial.
But it was reasonable looking. It had a... I'm sorry, Brady. I just feel like I'm speaking so bluntly. It wasn't perfect, but it had some soul. And it really...
I'm not disagreeing.
Doesn't now. But here's my thought, is I'm not saying, no, we can't make a change. I'm open to change. I understand markets change. I understand it's difficult. I'm not telling them they have to go build a hotel and then try to get somebody in and then rent it out as whatever it is. That's not my intent.
The small satellite conference pulled out, which was a
huge loss.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Loss for hotels specifically.
I do think, I don't know anything about Woodsonia, but I do think they can do better. And I'm not saying get over it, go back and build what we originally agreed to. My thought is, can we look at this a little bit more? Can there be more back and forth? Can there be a little bit, can we get some soul back into it? Can we get some more small business space? Maybe some more housing in there, maybe some more green space. I don't think I could approve it as it is. And that's not me saying tough luck. That's just saying, let's talk about it. Let's find somewhere between where we were and where this is. Is there somewhere that still works to make money, that still works for the developer, but also has more for the community? Is that possible? And maybe after a month or two of talking, it's really not. But I just am really hesitant to say, yeah, let's go for it today, as is. So I will not make a motion now. I will show my cards and let others spill their brain goo.
Well, I would actually move denial.
I mean, that's where I'm leaning. I want to let others share their thoughts
Is that a
before.
motion, my dear?
Because I'm willing to hear Mark's counter.
Well, I think we
I
can
don't
make
have a counter because I agree
motion
with
and
you,
discuss
so.
it.
You can't steal my motion.
Do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, but I want to hear what Mark wants to
Well,
say.
we can still talk about it after we
about
vote.
it. We'll
Okay,
still talk about it.
Okay, fine.
What are you moving?
Do you want the motion?
I
don't really care.
I would like to
I'll move it, or you can.
I would move denial of ordinance 2519.
And let's just talk about it.
And
I'll
you
second it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking
It's
at
been
Brady.
moved
and-
and seconded, and now it's open for discussion.
Just look at me and say point of order. I read the book recently.
I don't disagree with you, Mike. I don't disagree. I just look at it and I go, okay, it was commercial before.
Right.
And it's still commercial, and it fits commercial, what they're asking for.
But all the time,
Except for the PDO, yeah.
all the time that you guys spent trying to get it to be something unique, to throw it out the window without saying, let's look at it for 2 or 3 months, can we still
I
get some
get it.
character?
I'm just looking at it as a property owner going, it's my property, it's commercial.
Sure.
It fits the zone. What's the
But
deal?
it doesn't, they chose
I know.
to be part of
I
the
know.
land development.
didn't
I
just
get
go
it.
commercial.
I get it.
With
I'm
smaller-
just
with
trying to be
smaller
practical from a
commercial
property
pieces.
owner's position and go, okay, it's still commercial.
But you missed
like,
the
I get
whole
it.
point of them choosing to go through this process.
I'm not missing it. I'm just saying it's commercial and
They
it's
spent
still
so
commercial.
much time before, let's spend
I
a little
know.
bit more again.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. So if that's the way, if that's the direction that you want to go, shut up. It's my turn to talk. So I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. I'm just saying, just be aware, it's commercial,
I know.
and they're gonna come back with a commercial ask. So it's like, that's fine.
I just don't want 350 people living behind a strip
I get
mall.
it, I get it. I would like a whole lot more housing there, and I love the hotel, and I want to keep it, but it's like, is that practical? I just
But
hate,
there's gotta be
I just
some-
hate telling property owners, I'm sorry, you can't do what you want
But
with
then
your
they
property.
could have just zoned it commercial
I just
and
left
an
it. I just
MR,
left it
an
alone.
MR 30.
That's my
And they chose
exact
not to.
point. That's my exact point. It's like, they could
So-
MR 30 it, no problem, because it's in commercial. So it's like, if you want to do that motion, let's vote.
Yeah,
I just want to say
I think-
that I know sometimes things get, but well, no, I'm just saying, I really respect all of you.
I'm not disagreeing.
I
I
know.
liked it the way it was.
I know.
That's just like, sometimes you don't get what you want.
And I don't think we're going to get what we want.
No.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I just think compromise might be somewhere.
I would
Anyway.
like to hope that entering into this process with Logan City allowed us to ask for certain things and for them to get certain things. And one of the things that I felt like the entire project had was an element of character. And the character goes right out the window when you slam a big box on that space. And I just feel like if it's going to be that big box, can it be something on top of it that helps create the illusion of
character,
the
Yeah.
character
I
that
would-
we sought in the beginning.
I would love to see that.
That you agreed
I'd
to.
love to see that
So,
too.
Given how big this project is and how expensive it is it too much to ask to see 2 different alternatives come from them?
I mean, I know he said that they looked at a dozen. I'm sure there are others in the running still to some extent, right? Like, they probably have other options, and I just
I'd like to see at least 2 to 3.
I would just like to see some variation and see.
And I think the comments from the public and comments that were made when the PD was originally done is, and I think Jeannie alludes to, that proposed dwelling unit number was, to me, was a pretty critical piece of my going with this. And the option that could have been just an MR development on half, they could have rezoned and done strictly commercial on the other part. But the idea was to build this walkable, engaging space. And to me, that's what this doesn't do. And it also takes away those smaller commercial units as well, which I think were really appealing to have.
The marketplace part.
The marketplace piece of it, which now it's just two big boxes. And
Which will be out of state.
Do you live behind Petco?
Exactly, will you?
And I just.
I do like their fish better than PetSmart fish.
But anyway, so that would be my reason for making the motion to deny this, is to come back with a different thing that's more in line with the original PD.
Right.
And in defense of the developer, I do think, I mean, the market is very different than it was 2.5 years ago. Interest rates are different, the housing market's different.
It's completely changed.
The business market is, like, it is a different, and so like, I'm willing to accept change, is I guess what I'm saying. I'm not trying to kick you out the door and say don't come back.
Can I make comments at this point?
That's up to the chair.
Yes, you may. Please come to the microphone, though.
So as I said, there's still some very big uncertainty about what this mid-box use would be.
Yeah.
However, the developer is trying to move forward with their multifamily project, and they are to the point where they've submitted building permits to the city for all 4 of these apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is somewhat contingent on getting those permits approved, those building permits approved.
Well, I think that there's been no change in 1 and 2.
Right, it was
In that
3
backside.
and 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that if you go back again, and I'm not trying to design the project or anything like that, but the opportunity does exist for you to get the housing units and the big box, but have it look like a better structure.
And I can hear what you're saying about the option of trying to put housing units on top of a big box. I don't know where I've seen that be successful anywhere.
And I don't even think that has to be the solution. I just would like to see some options.
Okay.
Is how I feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not saying go do that. My opinion is we're not saying go do one specific thing, but like, is there a way we can get a little bit more
housing?
More housing, more character. I would love to see more small business spaces in there. And you know, I mean,
no, I don't think that the potential developer would be opposed to that. I think that what they would be wanting to see is to move forward with their multifamily project while they're going through the process of trying to figure out what to do with
But see, that
mid-box
just,
area.
but that.
just sets it up that that's all that can fit there.
But see that, yeah, I mean, 3 and 4 make it so that you change the character of that whole edge of the, you've changed the.
Maybe, I mean, 3 barely changes in size, and 4 was an L-shaped 4 that encroached into this mid-box space a little bit more.
Yeah, but
can we phase it like we did Willow Lakes? I mean, they had like 5 phases, and we like approved everything except for the 5th, and it's like, okay, we can play with that still, but.
Well, why couldn't they just apply for the northern
2 building permits?
east corner and
They
get
can,
those
right?
permits?
Yes.
Yeah.
They submitted these. We're nearing completion and issuance of these 2 top buildings.
Yeah.
But these 2 bottom buildings are contingent on this code amendment because they change.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're not comfortable issuing those until you 5 decide how to move forward.
For the bottom ones, but the top ones you can do.
Correct. And it's already essentially phased in 4. They've got Target under construction. It's being built as per plan. These 2 are going to be permitted and built as per plan. And then this area and this area would be, I guess, phase 3 or 4.
I'm not trying to make it harder. It just
It's so complicated.
Well,
once Mark whispered.
I'm saying you're making it so complicated.
I know I am, but at the same time,
Again, I do not disagree with you.
I know you don't.
I don't
I know.
disagree. I'm just trying to point out.
okay,
I don't work for the.
so,
I work for them. Like to some extent though, like.
No, I think it's in our right to say, no, this is not acceptable, come back and bring something else.
Let's try.
It is. I just feel bad telling people no.
I know.
I have boundary issues, okay? I need to go to therapy.
I think if there is agreement that it's not acceptable, I don't think we have to necessarily feel bad.
would you like to call the question?
Yes, please, Jeannie, just call the question. I need food again.
You can call the question.
What question?
To vote.
We have a,
Yeah, we've got a motion and a second.
we have a motion and a
I
second.
guess I'll just ask one last time, building 3 is such a small change.
Let's go over what
What's the difference in building 3?
it's 42 units to. Doesn't
Let's
say.
see, I got the breakdown
Yeah, we
here.
have building 3 is pretty much 42 units to.
Went down, went up 1 unit.
building 3 went up 1 unit?
No, it went down, so it went from 42 to 41.
Why does it say building 3 is?
Yeah,
Building F,
these are
building
the
5.
old labels, but
Yeah,
this
they
is the
were-
building here.
It went down a unit,
Yeah.
okay.
1 unit.
This one that goes from 100 to 74 is the L-shaped building.
Can you explain
Yeah.
what the changes besides one less unit on building 5 or 3 or whatever it is are?
Footprint a little bit.
Yeah, what are the differences?
What changed? Because I know there was some park
Something
space to the east of it and some other things. I mean, if that stuff changed.
As we finalized the site layout and design, we found that we basically couldn't make the configuration work with the access on the east as it was shown. Due to topography, the elevation of 200 East is just quite a bit higher. And so we had to bring that access point on the east side of that building further to the west. And so that's why you've got that angled configuration of the layout, and it slightly affected that building layout by doing that.
And you're losing
1 unit, basically.
You're losing 1 unit and some green space outside.
Yeah.
The green space is just kind of split now into 2. It's roughly the same square footage. It's just,
But split green space
just
is
by-
less usable than
Yeah,
single green
that's
space.
fair.
So can I amend my motion?
Was it my motion or your
then
motion?
I don't, you know.
I don't remember, Dan.
To
So I don't understand, I
allow
guess.
one change of the, like to
I guess I don't understand why you had to change the entrance. You've got an entrance between where the L-shaped one is and that one as well. So why
It was just the configuration because the elevation of 200 East is so much higher.
They need a ramp out to 200
Pull away from that.
Well, no, but I meant there's already another entrance.
Well, you
Right,
have to
the original layout had a perpendicular to the access on 200 East, whereas this is pulling it away a little bit.
They're not talking entrance to the building. They're talking entrance to the parking around the building.
We're talking about the parking lot entrance, and it affected the building design.
And the green space. Do you see that?
Sort of.
This too. They went like this. And they turned this driveway because it's straight up there.
Yeah, I know.
And they changed it so they can have a ramp.
But I was wondering why they even had to have one, because they have another access over here.
I think it was a request from the property owner to the south as part of their negotiations that they.
That makes sense, yeah.
There's a cross access.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
wanted cross access?
Yep,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay,
Which, yeah,
Yeah.
more parking lot.
okay.
So Mel, how could we
That
approve
totally makes
just
sense.
Building 1, 2, and 3.
Well, no, we're
Giving feedback.
do we have to
No,
approve
this is a,
that?
the motion is to deny the big box portion, or the changes in that whole phase, or how do we break the phase into 2 pieces?
I mean, you can simply say what you have been discussing right now, just on the record. So for example, you explicitly say
write down 3s.
that you're approving building 3 or whatever it was with the 1 reduction in the way it was proposed and denying the rest, or continuing it to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
So we can approve building F and deny the rest.
Yes, F?
F.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
well, it's 2, 3.
1727A 50,
Yeah,
So-
section B,
So
section
why did
4.
building C get smaller? What's building 2? Building 2 and building 4 got smaller.
So I can answer that if you want.
Yes, please.
It was just a study based on number of bedrooms that they wanted to have. They felt like it was more beneficial to have more 3-bedroom units versus 2, and so they lost.
One.
Oh, okay, all right. So the size of the building is the same.
Also very acceptable.
They just went from
Yeah.
2 to 3 bedroom
Okay.
units.
Yeah.
That makes
Yep,
sense.
Also very acceptable.
Well,
So-
Which ones you're gonna approve on the record,
So-
and then you probably wanna continue them, right? Because you want the project to come back, so don't
So-
deny, continue.
So pretty much you want to approve the redesign
an
of
ordinance.
building F, but deny
And it needs to go back to plan commission.
Yeah, deny.
deny E and the big box.
Yep.
So.
Okay,
So if you're willing to amend the motion, we can do it that way.
Did you make the motion? Did I make the motion?
Teresa, who made the motion?
Okay.
Amy did.
I remember teasing you about it,
So
and I remember
can
who
I
actually
just,
made it.
I'll just withdraw it.
You can withdraw.
I'm going to withdraw it and we'll start over.
Okay.
Mark, here's your moment.
It's fine.
I'm teasing you.
I'm cool with what you're talking about. It's fine. I just,
Okay.
So,
Well,
because
like I
the
need to
motion
speak
was
up
for
for the
denial,
developers.
which we don't, so I think, so the motion is to approve the submission for building F
Yes.
and to deny,
Or to continue, or however you want to say that.
deny, because it has to go back through planning.
yeah.
Okay.
Deny building E
Yep.
and building B. Is that right? Okay,
Yep.
that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second her again.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do you want to discuss it any further?
Please no.
Okay. Wow.
We keep blowing Teresa's estimated times.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
We still have another action item.
Your work is cut out for you. I'm sorry, we have one more action item. And it is a public hearing, and Rich, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Go, Rich, go.
Few items to consider. Request to appropriate $18,000, a grant received by the police department for our IPAC grant, Crimes Against Children. A request to appropriate $103,000, the state task force grant to investigate drug usage. Request to appropriate $3,200, which was an insurance reimbursement for repair costs. Request to appropriate $41,200 for a state grant for the trail through the Logan River. And lastly, a request to appropriate fund reserves of $10,000 for library electronic book subscriptions that we discussed last time. There was a difference in whether it was a carry forward.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a question for our library director. Have you sat through this entire meeting for this moment? I feel so bad.
Michael is a great guy.
Was that it? I'll sit back.
I appreciate you and I respect you,
I also live near that last development.
and I apologize. That is my only question.
This is a public hearing. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less. And you too have been here the
I say
entire
somebody
time.
else is waiting.
I just got nothing else to do, so I wanted to.
Oh.
Insomnia problem, I thought coming here would help.
It might.
It doesn't.
No, my name is Dave Wind, I live in Logan. If this is too off topic or too tangential, just give me the stink eye or whatever, and don't answer it. But regarding trails and $42,000, $41,000, thank you so much. It's fantastic that we're putting money into trails. The trail being contiguous, I think, is really important. I was raised in Provo, Utah. There are things I don't like about it, but they've got a fantastic trail system that just goes tens and tens of miles. Continue. You can start at Utah Lake, go to Provo Canyon, go north of there. It's just an amazing trail system. My question is, where does the lawsuit stand on this one part of the trail that's inaccessible with the wooden barricade? I have two questions. Where exactly does the lawsuit stand? And you seem to speculate on a lot of other things. What is your speculation?
We may have an announcement on that next week.
Oh, you can tell. Why don't tell anyone? You can tell me.
Just be a little patient, just a tiny bit, yeah.
I won't make a comment about his patience.
Comments, questions, anything?
No, I'm just,
No.
I'm just teasing you, Dave.
So wait next week and just watch the website, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Or the mayor will
Social
shout it from the
media?
top of the building, maybe, I don't know.
If you wrote your email on the list, I can send you an email if there's an announcement.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
I'll move approval of resolution 25-43.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There is one workshop item. Rich, go for it.
Request to appropriate $131,000 of revenues from the 911 fund for dispatcher training. We've had a period where we had multiple positions open for an extended period of time. Now all those positions are filled, yay. Now we need to train these people as well as provide additional training to other employees. So this is a request to appropriate additional funds, increase the budget, but I feel like it's extremely important.
But it's not an increase of the budget forever. It's just a
No.
one-time.
It's
Yeah.
a one-time request, although I would anticipate in the future we will increase that a little bit, but that would be a future budget adjustment council.
Right.
Can you
But-
clarify which fund it's coming out of?
So it's coming from miscellaneous revenues. They've had certain contracts with other agencies. They've been able to boost those and also have been able to get agreements with other agencies that use our 911 that have not paid in the past. So they've done a very good job.
So it's still coming out of
our 911 fund.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for the
Well,
clarification.
we listened tonight to a 911 call, and I was truly impressed by the level of calm.
And professionalism and
Absolutely.
clear communication. And,
Yep, it was amazing.
In a very stressful situation.
Yeah, I would have
One of
been
the
like,
worst.
Like, yeah, I would have been hyperventilating, so.
I hyperventilate when scam calls call me because I just don't like answering my phone. And I'm
Like,
like,
I was so impressed with her, like so impressed.
Yeah.
I was too.
so are there other considerations this evening?
Just reminding people importance of voting.
Yep.
Vote.
Mail your ballot and drop it off preferably.
Right? We're done.
We
I
are-
have something. Are you sure?
Thank you.
You have something?
I do have something, but I'll talk.